we're back. Mama Bear is going to be joining me today up here. The lovely Mama Bear. Always happy to have her with me. And thank you all so much for joining us today, guys. The University of Idaho secret indictment, new documents. What is actually going on? What is going on with all this, folks? We are going to find out today our side of things and our take on everything. So thank you again for joining us this Thursday, May 18th of 2023. Let's get this show on the road. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. It is great to be back, guys. Missed you guys yesterday. Mama Bear should be jumping in here any moment here, guys. On your way in the door, please feel free to leave some DNA on that like button for me. Please, 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 guys, if you would, share this out. Get it out there, guys. Friends and neighbors, milkman, mailman, the dog, the cat, the fish, whatever. As I always say, share it to whoever you think would be interested in listening to what we got to say today. Again, guys, secret indictment went down. A grand jury was convened. And Mr. BRYAN KOHBERGER has been secretly indicted for what went on in Idaho, guys. And Monday he should be out to put in his plea. Should be an interesting day. So thank you once again, all of you guys, for joining us here. I appreciate you guys so very much, each and every one of you guys. There's a lot to talk about, folks. There really is. And I am so glad. Sorry that I wasn't here yesterday, everyone. Like I said, I had some technical issues going on. But I am back. So let's see who we got here today. Mr. Lance is in the house. Miss Annie Potts. Welcome, my dear. It's so great to have you here. Mrs. M, always a pleasure to have you here. Molly, good golly, good golly, good golly. Miss Molly's in the house. Miss Brandy, the OG. Thank you for joining us, Brandy. Mandy Joe, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. The Sarge is in the house. Just the facts, man. What's up, Sergeant Friday? Marshall Dove. Hey, Dago, new to your channel. Love it. I am so grateful to have you here, Marshall. Great to meet you. Great to have you here. I hope you love it. Monica Kelly, great to see you. Nachos 8. Thanks for joining us today. Bongo, the twerking dog. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Miss Sylvia's in the house. Good to have you, Miss Sylvia. Thanks for joining us today. D Smalls, welcome back. Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us today. Mr. Sentinel, great having you here. Great having you here. My brother and best friend, Mr. David James, my friend. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you're feeling better, brother. Thanks for jumping in here. Let's see. Miss Rachel Jacobs, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Mandy Joe, thanks for jumping in. What's up, Eddie? 1 minute, one maiden nut. Thanks for joining us. Always happy to have you here. Miss Unique Van Life, thanks for joining us, my dear. It's great to see you. Lee Merrick, welcome. Good to have you here. Am I missing anybody at this point? I don't think so. I think I got everybody I can see. Rachel Jacobs, good to have you here. I think, wait. What do we got here? Higher Ground, 0001. Thanks for joining us. Miss Lori Smith, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And oh my goodness, what a surprise. Look who we got here.
Hey guys.
Welcome, Mama Bear. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome, Bridget B. Good to see you, Miss Heather Fitzgerald. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so great to see you, Mr. Dan Antonucci. Welcome back, brother. Good to have you here. Keep kicking butt, Dago. The fix is in. We're not getting any truth in this case. Corrupt from the top down. I can agree with that one, my brother. I can agree. Let's see. I think that is everyone. As you will come in now, Kathy Parker, welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us today. There is so much to talk about. And oh my goodness gracious, what do I see here? Welcome to the sauce, Marshall Dove. We have a new meatball in the house, everybody. Thanks for becoming part of the family. We love it. We love you. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you here. Again, Miss Kathy Parker, welcome. Monica Kelly, great seeing you. Gina Marie, welcome back, dear. Sweet and salty, same to you. Great to have you here. Come on in, everyone. Grab a seat. There's plenty of room for all of you guys. Like I always say, grab your coffee, tea, whatever it may be. Come on in here, sit down, and have a conversation with Mama and me.
I'm doing great. Unique, how are you?
Sarge, I'm not sure. I've gotten a lot of emails. I had a lot going on yesterday, brother. I will check it. And if I haven't, I will definitely go through them. It takes me a bit of time to go through all my all of my emails and all of my messages and all so on and so forth. No, Rachel, Mama Bear is not my wife. At least not in real life. I guess you could call her my
work
wife, whatever you want to call us. Yeah. Welcome, party of 5. No, my wife's name is Miss Brandy. She's in and out of here every now and then too.
It's okay, Rachel.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no worries. No worries. That would be a interesting scenario, a husband and wife duo doing this, though, wouldn't it? It'd be kind of cool.
Well, isn't it a husband and wife that does that one podcast on the record?
Oh yeah. The ones that were covering Deborah Collier's case back in the day. Yeah. Okay, you're right. Absolutely. Austin Ferris, my brother, good to see you. It's been a while. Welcome, party of 5. Again, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Michigan, number 29. Welcome, welcome. The Great Lakes State. Yes, we are neighbors. Miss Brandy said we all his work wife. That's right.
Yep. Takes all of us to keep him in line.
Yeah, that's a fact, guys. That is a fact. I think Mama Bear is the only one that has the actual full amount of patience to be able to handle me completely. You know, Molly's the one that will.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yes.
It's good to see you too. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad you're all here, guys. I really did miss you guys yesterday. Miss Kelly, welcome. I was and you can ask Mama Bear about this one. I was so angry yesterday. I'm not even going to get into the internet issues, but yeah.
I even told him at like 6:30 last night. I said, if you really, really want to go live, I will go. But 8:30, I got to bounce.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that last night. I wanted you guys to have me fresh and upbeat. I was burnout and tired by that time yesterday, and it's just like, no, I'm not going to do that to you guys. You guys deserve better. Welcome, Pink Butterfly. Good to see ya. Mr. Larry, good to see you, sir. And besides, you guys had already seen the scenario, what was going down. We're here today to give you our take on it and talk about some of the things that go with it, because I feel there's some weird things going on with all this. Miss Evie Marie, thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate that. Welcome, by the way. Good to have you here. One moment. Let me get that rolling, too. Got to get everything set up. Sorry. Didn't have that ready. My apologies. Let's see. Where is my brother Mikey at? I have not seen him yet. I'm surprised. No chains, no mo. Welcome. Good to have you. Good to see you. I missed it and I was blocked again. What are we talking about? What are you talking about, Gina? Nobody should be blocked in here.
Yeah, nobody should be blocked in here.
And if you are, I'll have to check into that, because I don't block people. Unless, of course, I have to, which I usually don't. This is a very laid back, calm, cool, and collected channel. And we don't ever have drama usually in here.
Yeah, not you.
I absolutely agree, Annie and Dan. It is a mess, and there's some strange things going on. There we go, Evie. Thank you again, my dear, so very much for that. Again, guys, this channel is 100% crowdfunded, folks. That's what keeps me coming out here to pay these bills. You know, the internet and the StreamYards and all the other fun things we got to do to keep it running. So any of the super chats, super stickers, the links when I pop them out there, any donations that go to that is so very much appreciated to keep me coming out here to you awesome, amazing people doing this on a daily basis. Guys, we got 108 people in here and I got 37 likes. Again, as I say, I'm not a detective, but I'm in true crime. Let's figure out what's going on. Give me them likes, guys. Let's get out into that algorithm so we can get out there with everybody.
Gina, I know what you're talking about now. Never mind. She's not talking about on here.
Oh, okay.
About the incident last night.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, Quato. Cricket Moon. Listen, I'm just going to make one statement about that scenario. I was up late last night. I was scanning through things. I couldn't sleep. I got restless leg syndrome, folks. Anybody that has that, you know what happens. I was up. So I was looking through things. I was catching up on what was going on because that's what I do. And I saw that person went live and I kind of felt bad because she's had a rough go with this lately, you know, and that's just who I am, guys. I feel bad for people. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and people, I feel people deserve chances to make things right in different aspects. Okay. So I went into the chat. I said, hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on? I hope everybody's, you know, having a great night, blah, blah, blah. And then I was asked, would you come up here, Dago? I would be honored. Those were the exact words. I said, well, I can do that for a little bit. Sure. And then I was asked, what's your take on all this? So I started explaining all that. Well, I got towards the end of what I was explaining, and all of a sudden, boom. You know, I was basically told to shut up because that person wanted to talk. And I was told, you have your own channel. And okay. Now, I don't talk to people that way. I never have. Even somebody I dislike or I'm not agreeable with, I don't talk to people that way. I just don't. And I've always been very nice and very helpful and very, as I am with everybody, to that person. You know what I mean? So that was, I'm just, whatever. I tried. I was trying to help, and I will no longer do that. So it is what it is. I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I definitely was not trying to take over that person's channel or that stream because I don't do that kind of thing. I was asked to come up there, and I very politely did. And then that happened. So it is what it is. You live and learn, and you move along. That's all it is. No, I don't have any harsh feelings towards that person, and I won't, because there's no point in that. So be it. It is what it is. No worries, Hash. What's up, brother? Miss Sudi Basic, good to see you. Heather, thank you so very much for that. I know you were in there last night. I appreciate you.
Hey, David.
And same with you, Cricket Moon. I appreciate that as well. David, my brother, I hope you're feeling better. David got hit with the COVID bug. I was a little bit worried about him. That ain't no fun. So I hope you're doing good, David. Jerry, good to see you. Welcome. Good to have you here. Oh, it's all good, Kathy. I have very thick skin and I can handle it all. I promise you that. I promise you that. 140 people, still only 54 likes. Come on, guys. If we hit that 100 likes and above, we get up into the algorithm and we get floating. Just here for the tea. You are awesome. Thank you. So are you. And I appreciate you. I really do.
It's just more of the abruptness. I mean, it was just.
I've never had anybody.
And then just went boom. And I was like.
I said, did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And you know what? It reminded me of way back in the day when I was bouncing around the drama community. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of thing that happens. Not in here. And I built this channel so that didn't happen. And it was based on the fact that anybody can come in here, speak and feel whatever way they want to, talk about how they want, and nobody's ever going to attack them, this and that. And I go to help somebody, and that's what happens to me. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Yeah. I was actually confused for a minute. I stood here. if I could have seen my face, I know I had my jaw was I know I had this face. Okay. Because I had no idea what the hell just happened, but it's okay. It's okay. You know, there's obviously something going on with that person, and I hope that she deals with it and does better. That's all I can say. Because that is not the way to do this type of thing. And I had mentioned that I was tired a few times because it was 1:45 in the morning and I was tired. And then that was the reasoning she tried to give. That has nothing to do with it. I've done this. You don't have to be that way. I've been in this for over a year. And the people that have been here with me for that period of time know me. I've never acted like that with anybody ever. Okay. If I disagree with somebody, it is what it is. If I want somebody to stop talking, I wait till they're done. And then I very politely say, is it okay if I go ahead forward now? That's how I am. That's how you're supposed to be, guys. Being mean to people, attacking people, whatever the deal is, that doesn't get you anywhere but backwards, folks. You're not going to build a channel doing that. And I'm sorry, but being real and being rude are two different things. I think I'm real in here. I think I'm very real in here, and I'm not rude to people. So that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not going to blast the channel's name, guys. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk down about it. None of that kind of stuff. I'm just going to leave it where it's at. I'm going to be the bigger person and move on with what I do. And I hope, and as I said in the chat after that, I said, I wish you well, good luck. And I hope everything works out well for that person. That's all I'm saying. And I don't need to say any more about it. Like I say, you attract. I love that. That's awesome, sweet Salty. Like they say, you attract more bees with honey. That's a fact. GJH, welcome. Good to see you. Chick Antique, thanks for joining us. Margaret Hofer. Thank you for joining us today. And that's what this is all about, Heather. And that's what I want in here, okay? I want people to come in and drop their perspectives, their opinions, their theories. And if I disagree, I disagree. I've told you guys before, if somebody come in here right now and said, all right, Dago, I got it. I figured it out. I solved it. I was standing in the band field and I watched a UFO drop right there. There was 4 little green dudes. They jumped out. They had ice picks. They had hatchets, whatever they had. They ran in, they did their thing, and they came back out and they flew away. Okay. If that's your opinion and that's your theory, so be it. Yeah. I'm not going to dog you out or down you because of that. That's what this is about, guys. That's why we do the think tanks that we do. And that's why they work out, because we can all, there could be there's 156 people in here. If every one of you guys has a different theory and I disagree with all of them, okay. And?
It's okay. That's why we're individuals.
That's the thing. We're adults. We're grown-ups. We can agree to disagree. We don't have to fight about that. You know what I mean? And I refuse to do that. So that's what it's all about to me. And I saw somebody had posted early on in the chat. Was it Sarge? I do have a number, bro. I post it up here all the time. A call-in number. We're going to be taking calls like we do. I try to keep the calls between 3 to 5 minutes, guys, to give everybody a chance to call in, because we can only take so many per time. I don't know what's going on with why is this doing this? I don't lock it at all. To me, it looks like I'm going very robotic. Okay. I think it might be what's up, Willow? Thanks for joining us. Cammy Q, good to have you here. That's exactly it. That is exactly it right there. This community, the true crime community, is not going to go anywhere or do anything unless we all support each other. This is why I go over to the Drunk Turkey Show, Buzzed and Confused. Great. Buzzed. That's going to be a good one now. Sorry, Stevie. Publicly Buzzed and Lana's channel. Jules, True Crime with Jules, okay? We work together, guys. We talk with each other. We bounce things off each other and support each other, okay? I shout their channels out. They shout my channel out. This is how we do this. It's not a competition. You know what I'm saying? So it has to. Why do I keep freezing? It has to work that way. So one moment, Mama Bear, if you don't mind. I don't know what this is. All right.
That was weird.
You are live with Mama and the Dago. Who am I speaking to? Oh, wait a minute. What is going on with this? Hold on 1 second, dear.
My son's doing some weird stuff over there.
What is going on with this? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you too.
All right. Who am I speaking with right now?
Again, my name is Anna Maria. I live in New Jersey. I've been on Drunken Turkey, TNT, and Jay for Justice when she had that program.
Okay.
And I like to take it all in, and I've always been someone that's like an analytical thinker.
Mm-hmm.
And from the very beginning, and I have a son on the spectrum too, so I can speak to social awkwardness in people, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a killer.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I always thought from the beginning that there was drugs related.
Yes, ma'am.
Drugs, money, something. And the fact that this was done so brutally even makes me feel more like either BRYAN KOHBERGER did this and he is truly psychotic,
Mm-hmm.
or was on drugs when this happened, or there's something else going on there. One of the questions I had to go from the very beginning of all this, which kind of makes you feel like with the grand jury now something's up,
Oh, yeah.
is when this first happened, the only thing that I could relate that maybe would be able to put him at the scene, and I don't know much about touch.
Uh-oh. Why is he muted? What?
He was arrested.
Oh, hold on, hon. Hold on. I just had a
Sure.
glitch. Sorry about that, guys.
That's
All right.
okay.
Back up about 30 seconds and start from there and go forward again. Sorry about all that.
Me, I'm sorry. Do I talk too fast?
No. It wasn't you. It was my computer. You're fine. Okay. Go ahead and finish what you said.
BRYAN arrested from the beginning? What was the evidence that got him arrested?
Well, there. One second. Okay. I'm sorry. There's all sorts of crap going on over here. The DNA from the sheath is what supposedly got him arrested.
Okay, so this is a perfectly logical question. If that's what got him arrested, now you're going to the grand jury and they indicted him.
Mm-hmm.
Then what keeps him to be arrested? If that is true, what we're hearing, that touch DNA on that sheath is like going to not be used.
Well,
so then how in God's name do you now indict this man?
There-
That's just the first question I have. It goes back to the very beginning of how he got arrested.
Yeah. And you know what?
Pings?
Yeah, the pings go along with it. There's a lot more evidence that they have that has popped up now in the documents. We're going to cover that. They have, I don't know, how was it, 20,000 like video pics, whatever you want to call it, digital things like that.
They're just pictures. Do they have a picture of him?
Well,
there.
That's what I'm wondering now at this point. There's nothing listed in the PCA. That's a fact, Sarge. But they haven't given us everything. They're holding everything real tight for the integrity of the case. I'm guessing, that's an issue for me. But whatever.
It is. Like I've never seen anything like this.
No.
If someone's getting arrested, we all, meaning everybody, needs to know. Well, at least what evidence got them to the point.
Yes.
You could bring them in and arrest them.
And that's the issue I have. Sarge just made a really good point. All that evidence popped up after the PCA, and that's not cool with me, guys. That doesn't fit with me, and it doesn't go with me. I don't think that's right. Which is why I think there's some shady stuff going on right now. Okay.
Do you think it's the drugs? Do you think it's drugs and all that to top with it?
There's definitely drugs. Drugs is like in the top 3 of what's going on. That's a big part of this.
Can I just say 2 other things regarding the drugs?
Absolutely, please.
Okay. one show that you're talking about, again, I listen to everything. I take everything in.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a hidden closet, something in that house, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Then that would be very easy to store drugs.
Sure would. Yeah.
If you're a drug dealer, and I'm not saying the girls were dealing that heavy, but let's put it this way. They knew Emma. So say Emma says, look, I got a lot of stuff I need to stash somewhere. Can I use your house? And I'll pay such and such. All right, think about this now. I'll pay such and such if you keep my stash there too, because I can't keep it all on me. Plus, I don't know, she was living with Demetrius, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I don't know if anyone caught on, and you're a medical person like me, I'm a nurse.
Yes.
Did you see where they said when they looked in Emma's safe, they found empty capsules?
I did hear that.
Again, I'm putting this out there. This is, but it kind of could make sense anymore. Could it be that maybe her and Demetrius said, let's make our own. Let's make our own compound, and then we don't have to pay like money back to the cartel. Again, I'm just, putting it out there.
You are.
Maybe they start making their own. Or they knew they were going to make their own.
Well, that's not as odd as you would think. Around here, they actually sell machines, okay, that people have gone and taken heroin, fentanyl, and made their own opiate-looking pills that are not opiates, and that will stamp that marker on that pill to make it look like an opiate. And they sell it, and it's killing people. That's happened here in the state of Ohio. I know that for a fact because of the people that I know from being in EMS and fire. Okay. Okay. You cannot, and I'm telling. Being a nurse, like you deal with fentanyl, so this getting out of fentanyl. Oh God, yeah. Unbelievable. I have an acquaintance that I know that I used to work with years ago. That's a paramedic that went into cardiac arrest because they touched somebody as they were treating them that absorb fentanyl into their skin. Okay, I mean he's fine now. Yeah, it's that bad. But it's that serious around here, guys. And if it's like that here in boring ass old Ohio, just imagine what it's like in all these other places where these drugs are rampant. It's bad here. Like we're up there as far as drugs go. And I mean, what better place? Now I remember Justin when he came out. Now I know a lot of things he says were out there, but the one thing that I always thought and agreed with him. These LLCs, these homes, these real estate people buy, and they buy them in colleges and universities. And what better place to know you're going to get some business going than in a college and a university, right? Correct. What better place to have that kind of business and stash houses? And it's something as a country, not just Idaho, that we all really need to be worried about. Hence, maybe why those FBI agents, okay, that are undercover, even a Brent Kopaka, that's another thing. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who's on the ground. And if you look at his YouTube now, I don't know if someone could make something on his YouTube and get away with it, but that eyes see you. Uh-huh. And yeah, what's the I see you? What is being watched? And if it's true that you can take that eye and go back and it's an image of that area and that house. Right. Movie. Does that sound crazy to you, or does this sound like nothing? Yeah, no. I told you that nothing at this point with this case, nothing's off the table. Nothing. I told you just before you called in, if you would have called me right now and said, Dago, I fixed it. I figured it out. I solved the case. It was aliens. Yeah. I would listen to you because nothing at this point makes any sense. Okay. So, and it never has. Brian, to those girls, it's got to be more than just a stalker to me. Well, it's way more. It's way more. Yes, ma'am. It is way more than a stalker. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I definitely feel, are you still there, ma'am? Ann, are you still there? I guess not. Well, to follow up with what she's saying, folks. Oh, are you still there? She is not there. She wants to drop the call. Let me pick up. Oh, there you are. Are you there? Yes. Okay. I don't know what
I
happened.
talk. Sorry.
It's okay. Welcome, Amy. What I'm going to say is I feel, in my opinion, that this house was a hub. Okay.
Yep.
And it was in a prime location. It's a great piece of property. It's right in the middle of a college campus, folks. It's Party Central. Okay. And at that point, you know, I'm not saying that the kids themselves, the victims, were involved in that themselves. Okay. What I'm saying is that that house seemed to be the junction for everybody to come there and do what they were doing and meet up. Okay. Not that they were doing it per se. In fact, I feel like they didn't want that to happen. And that may be part of what the problem was. Do you know what I'm saying?
Maybe some of them didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel the victims specifically, I'm sorry, that they were no longer having fun with that they didn't know what they were getting into when they rented that place. And this is what the outcome is. I don't think they had anything to do with that personally, but I think that groups of people that would show up at this house, that would come there for the parties, because it had been going on since way before they lived there. Okay. This was not new. Okay. That house.
I remember Maddie's roommate, the one that we first heard that they said maybe she was bullying her. She died.
Hannah Cleary.
Took an overdose.
Yeah, Hannah Cleary.
Think about that too.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Believe me,
I overdose, or did she get a bad batch of something too?
Yes.
And never woke up.
And that's it. That's what I do. Is I think that this property is very important to certain people. Okay, that specific house in that specific area.
Yeah.
And it has been for a long time, in my opinion. So take that for what it is, and then, you know, add everything to it and figure, which is what I've been doing. I've been looking now. These things, I don't like putting out rumors. I don't like putting out things that are not factual. Okay. But in the position that I'm in, I get a lot of information from a lot of different people. And I'm still working on this one situation here that I've very slightly talked about it, but it has come to my attention that there have been multiple other unalivings at that house. Not,
that's what you were saying.
Yeah, not like these ones, but overdoses and alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
And quite a few. Okay. And I'm still looking. I still can't find that, but it kind of makes sense if this is what I'm thinking this house is.
It makes sense, Diego, because you got to give us more with the BRYAN connection. If they have something, what are they hiding then? Just put something out there. You saw him going in. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Absolutely.
No sense. And one other quick question, because no one really ever says it again. I'm not insinuating that anyone was selling drugs, and even if they were, it doesn't mean they're a bad person or they should have been killed.
Right.
But what job did Kaylee have? The other roommate.
She, from what I understand, she wasn't working yet, but she had just locked down a very good job. Okay. That she was going to be moving on to. And
yeah, you hear Xana and Madison, but you don't hear much about Kaylee. And you know, Ethan worked at some tulip farm or something in the summers.
He worked on the farm. Xana and Maddie worked at the Greek restaurant, and then Kaylee.
Mad Greek.
Yeah, I think Kaylee had at that point was not working anywhere, but was finishing her schooling and focusing on that. And
you would think we would still look into where she worked because there was the stalker and all that other.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You don't really hear.
Absolutely.
Anything.
Absolutely. It'd be something nice to know. It might fit into the puzzle. You know what I mean? It might add a piece to the puzzle, guys. Very much so. So
I just want some evidence that links him there.
And that's
so
my
can at least,
yes.
I don't know.
That's my biggest issue. That is my biggest issue. Is show me something that makes sense that puts him there.
Yeah.
Okay? Not some touch DNA on a knife sheath, guys, because here's my thing, guys. This is not the same one, but again, okay? So we have a little bit of DNA right here, and that's what puts this man in that house. Don't tell me that. No, I can't understand nor agree with that. I'm sorry. I just can't.
Well, then that's to me, that's the only thing that could have got him arrested.
Right.
You don't even have that to show us on a video.
I think, one second, Annie. I think that there is more, okay? But they're not giving it to us yet. There has to be.
Like, give us one of them. What could it be that's so hard? Like, I don't get that. It's bizarre to me. I don't know.
Oh, right. No, I agree with you 100%. I absolutely agree with you.
It makes you guess, like, question, how did you arrest him? And then now you're hearing about the sheets being thrown out, whether that's a Giglio-Brady issue, which is a big issue. Why now can that just be discounted if that's what you needed to arrest him?
I agree. It's
tell
not.
Me this. It makes no logical sense.
How is it not relevant? That's the thing. They put those words in there that it's not relevant. That's the most relevant piece of information in that document, in my opinion, because that's why this man's sitting in jail right now. Okay.
Absolutely.
So don't tell me it's not relevant, because to me, like I just said, it's the most relevant piece of information that we had to look at. Now, if
they would have to disclose that to his attorneys. Why are you arresting this man? What do you have on him?
Yeah, right. And see, this all goes back to the fact that the stuff that the defense was asking for, the documentation they wanted, this, that, and everything else, and it took prosecution so long to get that to them.
Hey, Steve.
That was odd for me as well. Okay, so and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. Now we have it, and now if you go through those documents, which we're going to look at it, they're motioning to withhold different variations of different things for different reasons. It does not make sense. Here's my thought. If I was the prosecuting attorney or the state, whatever you want to call it, if I knew in my mind that Bryan Kohberger was my suspect, I would be greatly this is what we have. Here it is. He did this, this, and this. This is the evidence over here. This is the evidence over there. Here you go. But they're not doing that. They're being really secretive about it. And that alone makes this very suspicious, in my opinion. So
I agree. Listen, I think it's great to keep this conversation going. I just want the truth, to come out.
Yes, ma'am.
And if he did it, so be it. But what it looks like right now is something is wrong, very wrong.
Yes. I agree. And that's what this channel is about. That's what I'm about. I always say we are here to be the voice for the voiceless. These kids have no voice. And all we want is true justice in the very end. And that's all it's all about, period.
Thank you, Dago and Mama Bear. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so very much. And we appreciate you. Thanks for calling. And I look forward to hearing from you again.
Thank you, Dago. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate your... Good Lord. Is this another one? One moment, folks. Let's check this.
Call from Jerry Martin.
I got calls dropping left and right. Hold on a minute, guys. Hello?
Hi. Call from Tony the Roofer. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
One moment, folks. Are you there, ma'am? What happened here? Hold on. Okay, are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Who am I speaking with?
Okay. I just I have 3. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You cut in and out there, but who are we speaking with here?
Yeah. Perry Martin.
Okay, well, welcome.
I'm actually in Ohio too. I'm in Hartsville.
Yeah, I saw that. The phone number. I love Hartsville.
So these are. I just had a couple things. In the beginning, Mr. Gonzalez was totally, ringing the police up and down, which I don't blame him. He wasn't getting present information.
Right.
He was on that phone, being that video.
Okay.
And I guarantee you that they know what was on that phone. He just recently praised the police. And in my opinion, that means that they have a solid case if he did that. Wrong, but
to an extent, I agree. I think Steve Goncalves says things without saying things, if that makes sense. I think he's trying to tell.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think he tries to tell us things without telling us things, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I think he feels justified in a sense, but there's also things that he says that makes you wonder, like, what are you talking about there, Steve? You know, because he can't just say it outright, obviously. I, if they obviously have more evidence that they're not showing anyone, and I get that. I feel like they have the case, they're confident with their case in that sense, but I feel like something about it is wrong. I feel like even with their evidence that they have, something is off with this, really off. Okay.
Well, if everything, if they don't have a solid case, I guarantee you that Mr. Gonzalez would not have gone up and down pricing.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And the other thing is, I know Felicity Gacy had said that she still thinks that the time is around like between 2:30 and 3:30.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, there were 2 cops out there writing tickets to kids.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't they have heard something?
Isn't that? That's a good point. But I would think that even if the timeline was the timeline they gave us, that those cops were all over that campus that night doing this, that somebody still would have heard something. I have had a problem with that as well from the beginning. How did nobody hear this? How did nobody see this?
I mean, if you're standing in front, it's one thing to just be on campus, but if you are standing right there outside,
right,
you've got 4 or 5 people, right? 3 kids and then 2 cops. Somebody would have heard something.
Yes. That's my thought. And to go back to what you had said about Mr. Goncalves, I love Steve. I think he's a great person. I feel so bad for him. I think he's probably an amazing father, and I feel I don't understand what he's going through. Thank God I don't have to go through that, but I feel the pain. I understand where he's at. Okay. And I don't think he knows everything. That's what I'm saying. Thus far, what Moscow has given him, I think that they've done well in that in that essence for him. Okay. But I don't think he knows everything either. And that's the thing. That's why he's still saying they've done great. Because at this point, with certain things, they have done great. But again, I don't feel like Steve knows everything just as much as we don't know everything. Okay. And that is something that we're going to have to wait to see what happens. And that's pretty much, how I feel in that realm.
Because of the gag order, none of the parents have anything on the phone.
Right.
I don't believe that. I guarantee you that Olivia Gonzalez said in that very first interview that she gets, is being texted and checks the text and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's why they letting up.
Yes. Yes.
And then we keep talking. I've never heard this in a, granted, witness, but been part of something, as far as like listening and talking about it, of this mass horribleness.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things that was said, very first thing, was it the kid? Was it the people living there, or was it the house? Who said? I've never heard this.
I mean,
how do you get to live in that house?
I think it's a combination, in my opinion, of the house and the kids, and I think there's a deeper reasoning behind this. Okay. I feel like, again, like I said, the house is a very opportune piece of property for where it sits. And it is a very good reason to, let me rephrase that. It's a money-making area for drugs. Okay. And I feel like, in a sense, that the victims, very sadly, wanted that to stop. That this is just my opinion, guys. This is absolutely Friday. No worries. This is it's sad because they wanted to have these are college kids that they did their party and they did this, they did that, whatever it is, that's fine. I think they were tired of it, though, in my opinion. That's just me. Okay, that doesn't mean I'm right.
What? How do you get? You? I mean, it almost sounds like you had to be chosen to live in that house.
To an extent, probably.
They're just going to let it. If there's any drugs or anything like that going on.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Understand something. I believe that was definitely not the only house on campus that was a drug house. Okay. These are college kids, for God's sakes. We know what it was like back in those days. Even if we didn't go to college, we knew people that went to college. We would go to people's houses or college parties with friends of ours that were in college. I know I did. I went up to Ohio State. I don't know how many times. Good God, I'm surprised I'm sitting here because of the things that we did on campus. Okay. It's just what it is. I think there's multiple areas in that area that were that type of place. But I think that house, because of where it's at, is a hub per se, and it was the place to go. And that's what I think this is all based from.
And that's why I asked, how do you get to live there? Because that's like a corporate headquarters if you go with the hub. And then you have your satellite.
Thank you, Brandy.
The drugs are distributed.
I think it was, who you, I think maybe it's who you know. I think one person got the house, and I think she kind of sublet it out to her friends. And her and Maddie were like best friends. We knew that. I think Kaylee was.
Ashland House?
No. I think it got. Well, go ahead and say. Did you say something that I missed? If you did, go ahead and repeat it.
No, you got two. Actually, well, I don't know if Ethan was living there or living in the Sid Mackay house, but he's probably over there, his boyfriend. But none of these girls, besides Maddie and Kaylee, they were close.
Yes.
We're talking freshman and senior. I'm with Lana on that one, man. I didn't hang out with freshmen when I was a senior.
Right.
Especially live with them.
Well, you really can't do that, because that can get you in trouble, because they're not able to drink. They're not able to do this. They're not able to do that. You got to kind of like stay away from that, So
that's why I'm trying to figure out, how did they get chosen? I think you had to be chosen to live there. I think it was more than just, I have money, so, and you have a room. I don't think that.
No, I understand completely.
If that's true, then somebody would have been living in the other room.
Right. No, I get it. I do. I absolutely agree. And that's a good point to look into. Like, how did this happen? How did this group come together? Who picked who, and who knew who or who didn't? You know what I mean? That's a good point to make. And maybe it's something I'll probably be looking into.
If we can figure that out.
Probably. That would start it off. That's definitely a good kickoff for it. You know what I mean? And anyway,
I will let you get back to your show, but I'm wondering, how did you get chosen to live there?
I think,
anyway,
I think it was all, truthfully, in my opinion, is somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. That's my opinion. So
I also think maybe you had to be approved by the Sid Mackay.
Yeah. Well, that's very possible as well. It is very possible, or one of the other sororities or whatnot. Very possible. And that's something, again, to look into. It definitely is.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate your insight and your opinions. I really do. That goes for all of you guys. What I'm gonna do though is after the, yes ma'am, have a great day. After this call, guys, I'm gonna hold the phones back for a minute so we can get into a couple things, but I'm gonna bring them back here a little bit later in the show. And I want everybody that wants to call in, Sarge, you especially, I want you to call in as well. But I have to hold off on that so we can get something done, and then we'll get the calls rolling, guys. Typically, that's how I would roll it. I appreciate you guys calling. I know you guys want to speak your piece. I want you to. We want to hear what you have to say. I promise you that we do. So Sarge, you definitely, your call will be next, but I hold off for it just for a little bit so we can get into a little bit of what we're doing, because if not, we won't do it. Besides that, we can get things kicked off. Mama Bear, if you can excuse me for one moment, I do have to do something very quick. You seem to have things controlled here, so I'll be right back, folks.
Okay. Yay, it's party time. have not seen Jules yet. Oh, Sweet and Salty, are you listening? You need us to read the comments. Is that what you're saying? Okay, Kim, we'll get it figured out. Brandy's real good at it. Or Heather, I don't know if she's in here. I haven't seen her, I don't think. In his belly, Mrs. M. Yep, for a minute. He'll be back. Whoop. Just trying to take it off of there. Every terabyte of discovery came only after the PCA was issued and warrants issued as a result of it. That's against the law if the DNA to get PCA won't be used at a trial. Interesting. See, I'm new to all this law stuff, so it's kind of wearing me out. As if the case didn't feel like my head was in a washing machine as it was, and then you throw all this law stuff in there too, and it just, oh my goodness. Yeah, I have no idea, Sophie. That would be interesting to know too. She said, I wonder what clothes the victims were wearing when they were found. Were they in the clothes they wore to the party or pajamas? Bernice says maybe has something to do with who's big in littles. Yeah, April. While Dago is away, the meatballs will play. Heather says could be a few different activities are going on in the periphery of these kids / the house. Some activities may not be connected, but that doesn't mean cover-ups aren't happening. I agree. Sergeant Friday, Brian's lawyers are going to have to challenge the indictment. I thought DM was from Florida, or is that just where her family landed later in life? I'm honestly not sure. We've had a really hard time finding information on DM and BF. So I'm not real sure on that. Thank you, Caroline. That was sweet. Who was Maddie's little BF? BF best friend, BF boyfriend? Bernice, which... Every time Diego leaves for a break, I feel like back in school when the teacher would leave the class and everyone would go crazy. Yeah, that's usually what we do, Brandy. We kind of just go nuts for a few minutes while he's gone.
Oh, well. So be it. Welcome back to me. Anyway, thanks for being patient with me, guys. Sorry, I had to do something very quickly that I could no longer hold, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I was trying. Didn't you see me sitting here dancing around while she was talking? I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta do that. For anybody that's jumped in, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and by the way, I noticed, were you doing things from your side? I forgot you could do that.
Well, I am this time, but it says that I'm you instead of under my login. So I don't, that's why I hopped off and then had you drop me another link to see if it corrected it. But
I think I need to go in and make you I want to make it the co-host because you have more access that way anyway, right?
I'll have to look at it again.
Either way, because that's very helpful that you were able to do that. That you freaked me out at first because I was like, "What the hell? I'm not doing that," but I forgot. So anyway,
so maybe that's why it's different. But I don't know why. If I'm co-host, why would it show up? I don't know.
Right.
Anyway.
It's weird. It doesn't make sense. So I appreciate those of you that called in already. Sarge, we're gonna get to you next for the next phone call. As soon as I drop it and say it's cool, I want you to call in, sir. You will be the next one. And then we'll take more calls, of course. Like I said, guys, I try to keep them between 3 and 5 minutes. Sometimes it's hard because there's a lot to say. If that's the case and you have to drop off, okay, and then we can finish the conversation from that. And if I miss a call while somebody's talking and you call in, I'll try to do my best to call you back. Okay, let me pull this document stuff up here, guys, and let's dive into this head first. Okay.
It's okay, Annie. I wondered why you popped up here. I was like, what?
Yeah, what was that? I'm sorry, Annie. What happened with that?
She said, my bad, thought the link was for us.
No. You could come up here too, hon. I said, that's fine, but let me get this out first, and then I'll bring you up here, unless you want to come up here and talk about that with us. It's up to you. I can only have a couple people at a time, though. Welcome, Dahlia. Good to see you. Pop Stream, good, or Steam. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us again. I cannot find what you just sent me, dear. Where did it go? I hate this every time. Did you send it to my email?
Yeah.
What's the title on it? Do you remember?
No.
Okay.
I may not have titled it.
Okay. Thank you. Most recent. There we go. Let's see if that's it. No, this is not it. Hold on. I have so much stuff in here.
Hey, Alicia.
Thank you for that, Brandy, guys. Again, guys, I am a 100% crowdfunded channel. Anybody that would want to donate to support the channel to help me keep coming to you guys like I do, it is very, very, very much appreciated. There's the link for Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. And, of course, anything else is welcome, folks. And I do thank you ahead of time for that. I appreciate it. It keeps me here. All right, Mama Bear.
Let me.
This should be brand new, and it should be showing up like brand new.
I was really tired last night, so it's hard to tell what I did.
I get it. I am not upset by any means. I'm confused.
Yeah. Here, I'll just send them again real fast. It won't be.
It's okay. Either way. Sorry, folks, for the delay. I have too much stuff in my email, and it's hard to sort through it. It does not do what it's supposed to do. Oh, wait a minute.
There's 6 of them, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I found them. I got them. Or did you just send that?
No, I haven't sent it yet.
Okay. All right. So as we all know, sometime in the middle of the night, not yesterday, but the day before, the grand jury convened. They secretly indicted BRYAN KOHBERGER for quadruple homicide and burglary. Okay. Now, that had been done, and they dropped all sorts of new documents. And of course, most of the other channels did all this. Like I said, I'd have been out here yesterday, guys, but there were technical issues, so you had to wait for me for today. And each one of us creators has a different take on everything anyway, so it's a different show and a different scenario with each person. So by the way, we did break over 100 likes, guys. Thank you for that. We should be out in the right algorithm now, so we can move along. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'll just take these. They might be out of order. If they are, I'll put it back together for you guys. I heard her LinkedIn was back up. Does anyone know if that's true? I do not No. Okay, I see what you did there. Confused me for a minute. Okay. So where are we at here? This is not the first. No, this document is not the first one. Here we go. This is not the first one. 1 second, everybody. I got it. Got it for you. Is this the... What the heck is this about? Oh, okay. This is the memorandum in support of motion to vacate the amended non-discriminatory. Yeah, okay. I got it. Why are these all popping up the same thing? This is not working for me. One moment, please. Notice of hearing. No, this is not it either. 428. What the heck is going on? Okay, did we have the documents from yesterday's, the whole thing from yesterday?
Yeah, there's 6 of them.
And it shows the whole cancellation of the... This may not be it. This is the Associated Press, Radio, Television, Digital News, plaintiff Bryan Kohberger, and notice of appearance. And then it's all
There should be one that says
of record.
indictment redacted.
Something about come now, Wendy J. Olson and Corey Carone of Stoll Rivers LLP enter their appearances as counsel for coalition. Okay. This is talking about the news crews and stuff like that. This is a... Hold on.
There should be one called for 516 for indictment.
Notice of appearance. Memorandum, motion to vacate the amended non-dissemination, motion to intervene, motion to support the motion to intervene, hearing criminal. Right. Notice of hearing criminal. Okay. 525. Well, there's that. Just to show. Notice is given in the above entitled case for... Yeah, that was old, though. That was filed 428. William Wolford, Thomas Jr. I don't think I have it, Mama Bear.
Okay.
This is a whole separate... We have so many documents, guys, and they do get confusing at times. So this is not the right set, I don't think. Bear with me, folks. We're getting there. I had all this set up, and I just thought I had the right set in order, and I didn't. So that's my fault. Please excuse me. Wait, 5854, 518. Uno momento. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for having patience with me. My apologies. Good to see you, Mojo. Thank you, dear. No worries. Yeah, Annie. I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it should be getting here any second now. School is almost over. Oh boy.
5 more days.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. All right. Okay. Well, I guess this is it. Okay, so this was filed May 16th. State of Ohio versus Idaho. I do that all the time. Versus Brian Kohberger. Notice is given for the arraignment. Hearing type would have been May 22nd, 9 a.m. Judge John Judge. Okay. And again, that was dated 5/16 by the Deputy Clerk, Jennifer Oliphant. I certified that on this date I served a copy, so on and so forth. We got what that is. So that no longer exists now because of what they did. And then moving on. This is one of the ones that I have issues with, guys. So this is, again, State of Idaho versus Brian Kohberger. This was 5/17. Okay. Motion to seal grand jury witnesses. Now, comes now the State of Ohio by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and respectfully moves this court pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rules 6.2, 6.3, and 6.4 for an order sealing the names of all the witnesses examined before the grand jury herein. Now, understand something, folks, as I've been explaining, and all you guys know this, I'm sure. The language and verbiage of these documents, sometimes I feel like they make them confusing on purpose because they can be, and a lot of the verbiage is nuts, okay? So you have to read them carefully and read them again and understand what it is. So, again, in support, the state respectfully represents to the court that it has received numerous complaints from potential or prospective witnesses or their families and associates regarding being harassed both in person and via social media. I wish Jules was in here today. The reports of harassment have included threats as well as what appears to be intimidation, folks. Given this and the broad publicity surrounding these proceedings, the state respectfully submits that releasing the names of the witnesses, okay, who appeared before the grand jury would invite additional harassment, intimidation, and possible threats and undermine not only the integrity of this case, but the parties' prospective rights to a fair trial with impartial jury. So this is basically stating that these people have been harassed already, face-to-face and over social media. Why have we not heard of that? Annie, go ahead and click this link again, hon, and you can jump up here if you'd like to. I would appreciate your insight on this as well. There's the link. Go ahead and jump up here because here's the thing, folks. Why has this not come out before? If there were people being harassed and intimidated and so on and so forth, have you heard anything about that, Mama Bear?
No, I have not.
Okay. I've not seen anything on any of the news broadcasts about this. So all of a sudden, here's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they're saying that, and now they're talking. This is basically about the people that are in the grand jury, correct?
Yes, the grand jury is who they're talking about being harassed.
Okay. And so they're trying to protect them. I understand. I understand that completely beforehand, but that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me if that's supposed to be the way that is. If it's a secret grand jury, who the hell knows who they are?
Right.
To be able to harass them in the first place. So I don't think that's what this means. That's why I said verbiage is very important. And that's what I was reading this before, and I was trying to figure out how to understand this. I don't know. Are you still here, Annie? I kind of wanted Annie's take on. There she is. I kind of wanted her take on it just to be sure. Why does it say remove? Are you already up here, Annie?
Hello.
You there you are. I thought you were already up here. So what is your take on this document in itself, Annie?
Well, it's confusing. I don't understand how witnesses are being threatened when no one knows who these witnesses are. So that
Nobody,
to me is like,
and well, by witness, what they're saying is the way what this is supposed to say is that these are the people in the grand jury, right or wrong.
right.
Okay, but if it's a secret, again, guys, if this is a secret grand jury, who's threatening them? Because it's a secret. Nobody knows who they are. I
Well,
don't get that.
what they're saying is that these are witnesses, right? These are witnesses that testified to the grand jury.
Right,
So
right.
they want the names, right? They want the names of those witnesses sealed. I don't understand how these witnesses are being threatened when no one knows who they are anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm
So,
sorry if I said that wrong. My
yeah, to
apologies.
me it's just no, it's okay. To me, it's just it's a tactic. It's a strategy by the prosecution to to just hide more stuff, basically. I think
I
this was more of an attempt. I think this was more of an attempt to keep the defense from being able to speak to Bethany, present any, to me, going to the grand jury after you waited till the 11th hour to drop all the documents with the defense and to hand over everything you handed over. You
Right.
did it at the 11th hour, knowing you were going to the grand jury anyway. And I'm sure Brian and his team probably knew too. But to me, it just looks like to me, it's a tactic and a way to prevent the defense from being able to argue or counter anything that was presented until a later date.
Right, right. Absolutely. I just this was one of the first things, okay, that made me start to feel like, okay, there's definitely something suspicious going on here. Something is wrong with this, in my opinion. So, and then they just keep compiling. There's more, okay?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, now we have his actual charges, folks. Again, the secret indictment was charged with murder in the first degree ×4, and then of course the burglary. And all the burglary is, guys, is them backing themselves up. If by some chance, welcome Gina, he were to get off on these charges, they have the burglary to go after him with, which is definitely not going to give you anywhere near as much time, but they'll have something, and I think that's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. So there's that. And again, I don't know. I'm sure you guys all went over this and saw this all gone over in the other channels yesterday, so on and so forth. So I do not want to bore you with that. What interest did you have something in particular you wanted to touch on, Annie?
Oh well, I was originally your first caller there.
Okay.
Who was talking about the genealogical DNA?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah. Well, it's okay. So it's technically a big deal, but it's technically not.
Okay.
And
go ahead and explain that.
Yeah, hopefully I can explain it a little better. So originally, when Moscow Police Department went to the Pullman Police Department and had them put in the application for the search warrant for Brian's apartment, the amended application specifically states that the genealogical DNA that would not be used. It was not considered when granting the search warrant.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that is not what was used to secure the warrant for his Washington apartment.
Okay.
Because if you remember correctly, the probable cause affidavit, we technically have 3 versions of it.
Yeah.
There's the probable cause affidavit, there's what was submitted to Washington, and then there's what was submitted to Pennsylvania.
Right.
So if you look on the actual documents themselves, the one for Pennsylvania and the one for Washington, it clearly states in the Washington search warrant application that the DNA was not used, and And furthermore, it even states in that search warrant application that they need to get into his apartment because they're looking for the knife and or the sheath to the knife.
Right.
So the sheath and the genealogical DNA weren't used to secure the warrant for his apartment in Washington. However, it was used to secure the warrant in Pennsylvania.
Right, right. And those two cannot coincide, correct?
And now, well, right. I think that's also why I think this is another tactic and another move by the prosecution, because the prosecution is saying, oh, well, we've turned over all body cams and documents and everything that we are aware of, right? That they're aware of. So I did a little digging into this last night because a lot of people were like, Pennsylvania doesn't require body cams.
Exactly.
And yes, that is, well, but that's not just the cut and dry of it.
No,
so I did some digging.
That was I'm glad you did. I'm gonna let you go there. And I wanted to make that known, guys. It's not a requirement, but you would think in a high profile quadruple homicide that they would want to in this situation, not only for his safety, but for theirs as well. So go ahead, Annie, go ahead.
Well, so I did a little bit of digging last night and this morning, and I found an article from 2017 out of Pennsylvania. Back in 2017, the state of Pennsylvania was issued a federal grant for body cams. Okay. The state police were to purchase, I think it was 30 or 40 body cams.
Okay.
And those are they're specifically for like state police who assist in search warrants and assist in things like that, right?
Absolutely.
So then I did a little more digging because I'm like, well, wait a minute. Okay, so technically Pennsylvania, because they are really secretive about their body cams and stuff anyway, apparently this was something I found out in my digging. But then I did a little bit more digging and come to find out that as of 2021, I think it was May or June of 2021, the Department of Justice requires all FBI agents who are assisting in serving search warrants or serving like high risk style warrants and things like that, they are required by the Department of Justice to wear body cams.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes. So we know that the FBI assisted Pennsylvania State Police in serving the search warrant and executing it. So even if PSP wasn't wearing body cams, the FBI agents who assisted in processing the evidence and everything, and who breached the doors and all of they should absolutely have body cams.
Absolutely, because
so to me it looks like the prosecution just never asked for it. Which is why, so it looks to me like Ann Taylor herself is going to have to go to the FBI and request their body cams for their assistance with PSP.
Yep. That's sadly that, but that's exactly what's going to have to happen because those are going to be important, guys. They're going to be super important. And I think they're going to tell their own story, to be honest with you.
Well, how will we know? Well, how are we? Right. How are we ever going to know whether or not he was actually sitting in the kitchen bagging trash into Ziploc bags with surgical gloves on without that body cam? I want to see that with my own two eyeballs.
I do too, 100%. In fact, to be honest with you, I hate to say this because, I've said this before. Normally, I have never had issues with law enforcement, but for some reason, with this case, I do. There's so much weird stuff going on that I want to see everything. I want to see everything that has been spoken about, that there has been documentation on, because I'm having a hard time believing almost anything at this point, Annie. You know what I mean? And if this man is not guilty, then damn, it needs to happen that way. You know what I'm saying? If he is, then he is. Put him away for the rest of his life. Do whatever you got to do. I absolutely agree with that. But thus far, there have not shown us anything that really says that he did this, in my opinion. That's my opinion. So,
right.
So yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And when they dropped these documents, the motions that were put out for redacting this and for suppressing that, it just doesn't make sense. Going back to the comment again.
Well, I think that.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, you could finish. Sorry.
No. I'm reading something, so please go ahead.
Oh, well, I think that's another reason why the prosecution went to the grand jury in secret, because they probably were well aware that come preliminary, Mrs. Taylor would have been filing lots of motions to suppress.
Absolutely. I agree.
You know.
Agree. And here's the
thing. So
guys.
it was, to me, this is just a tactic. It's a way for them to keep Bethany and whatever the defense believes Bethany has that's exculpatory. It's a way to keep that hidden. It's a way to keep the genealogy hidden. It's a way to keep the defense from countering anything that was presented. I feel like if you have a rock solid case, the last thing you're going to do is go to grand jury.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You know.
And that's 100%, folks. Understand that this was a tactic. This was a tactic to shut down the defense. Okay. 100%. They knew what they were doing. And I'm sure that this was planned from the beginning, in my opinion, because I still feel like they don't have the strongest case. You know, Jules, her video that she did on this, she made some very good points, by the way. Hello, Jules. I see you there. Thank you for joining us. This, to me, it became very suspicious immediately as soon as this happened. Okay. So I started looking at it, and then I watched her video. I watched other videos, this and that, and everything else. And this, to me, looks like, well, just like what Annie called it, it's a tactic, folks. A ploy, okay? A strategy, per se. Who's the better man? Who's going to get out, on top? Okay, you know what? I'll let you do your call real quick. Guys, hold the line one moment. Sarge has to work, and he deserves to call in. So go ahead and give a call, Sarge, real quick. And we'll handle that one. But I absolutely agree that it's too much to me. Like, I want them to explain everything that they're trying not to explain, if that makes any sense.
Agreed. And I feel bad. I feel bad for the families too, because some of the families planned on being there and they wanted to hear the evidence. Mr. Gonzalez made it clear.
100%. That's sad. It is very sad. Is this Sarge? Can you hear me? There we go. Are you there? All right.
How you doing, Dago?
I am doing, sir. Thanks for the call. I apologize for putting you off like that. I usually try to run them towards the end of the show, but
I used to run a bunch of streams and I'm on Discord, so no worries here, buddy. That's why I said if you couldn't get to me, I got no problem.
No. I've already put you off, and I don't like to do that. So go ahead, give us what you got, sir.
I think this is what's the most important thing to have observed. First of all, if you take the touch DNA out of the original application for arrest, all you have is a blurry photo of a car, a person that's dressed in black, and cell phone pings.
Exactly.
I do not believe a judge would have signed off on an arrest warrant. Then later, okay?
Yep.
When you're asked for discovery to fight this arrest, you state in your discovery that you're not going to use the DNA.
Right.
That makes the arrest unlawful.
That's my thought.
Everything you get after that is fruit from the poison tree. So now you look at the 51 gigabytes of data, and all of these streamers screaming, they got them.
Mm-hmm.
That was obtained under false pretenses.
That's. I agree.
So even if this kid has the bloody knife in his old shoe, this whole case may be ruined.
Yep.
Because of what the prosecution has done, and they really jammed it up the judges behind.
Oh yeah.
This guy that was setting up the probable cause hearing had it yanked out from underneath him, and I guarantee the reason they went to the court was to avoid being questioned about their statement of pulling the touch DNA out.
Right.
That judge would have hammered them for that.
I absolutely agree.
Now, if they use the touch DNA in the grand jury, there's problems here. And they're just beyond comprehension. This isn't how the justice system works.
No, it's not supposed to. You're absolutely right.
You can't write me a ticket because you know someday I'm going to go 45 into 35. And they claim I'm driving a Corvette and I own a Buick.
That's right.
And when you take me to court, you take the Corvette out of the accusation. You can't do that.
That's right. And I mean, do you agree that this, based on, well, Heather just said it, based on the pressure that they had to have an arrest done, to make an arrest. You know what I mean? I was just going to say, I think they jumped the gun and now they're trying to fix it. You know what I mean?
I think they did it on purpose because they knew they couldn't build a case without getting warrants.
Oh, well, that's a good point. That is a good point.
You see?
Yes.
And now they got warrants, and I think that they still don't have enough to convince a jury.
Right.
But they got to go forward with what they started because they started it wrong to begin with.
That's right.
It almost goes back to the drug cartel connection to Idaho, which I don't know if it's true, but it makes sense. It makes sense with Emma and her boyfriend and that guy that got shot, the Marine.
Yeah.
Whoever he was.
Brent Kopacka.
All of these things. There were 6 deaths just recently. A drug cartel killed a family of 6.
That's right.
Executions in Idaho.
That's right.
Right, and for us as citizens of this country to be exposed to this information and not question it and not just lollygag around like the media. The media is supposed to be the fourth arm of government. They're supposed to question power, like you're doing, like I'm doing, like everybody in that room is doing. Right?
Yes, sir.
Media, and what do? They go out, they rule for the ruling class.
Right.
The millionaires, the politicians, the police, the FBI, they're all the good guys. And meanwhile, they're breaking all these rules right under our nose, and they're not exposing it. People like you, me, and everybody else that's trying to expose it.
That's right. And that's why we're doing it. That's why we have to do this, because if not, nobody's ever going to get the actual truth out this. You know what I mean?
Right. And I was arrested falsely once, too. I got stopped walking down a sidewalk with a friend. He had drugs in his pocket, and they arrested me for possession with him. I was besides myself.
I imagine.
I don't have domain over his pocket.
That's right. That is right.
I sued him. I ended up winning. I sued and won because of that. But the problem I have is, what did you arrest me for to begin with? Aren't you supposed to be enforcing laws that you were educated on?
100%. Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. And in this case, I feel like whether Brian did it or not, I have no clue. But what I don't like is the way the government's handling the case and the way they're pulling tricks on people as if they're trying to hide something.
That's right. And they can say, right. No, bro. I love to hear from you guys. I've wanted to hear from you because you say some very, very strong and make some very strong points when you're talking in chat. And I can tell, you know what you're talking about, and you have the passion that we have with this as well. And that alone is enough. So absolutely, please feel free at any time. But I'm sorry that you hadn't seen the number before, because you could have called a long time ago. You know what I mean?
No, that's okay. I think people should also Google Idaho police. What do they need for probable cause warrants?
That's a good point.
You could even use hearsay. 8 of us can say Dago did it, and they'll give me a warrant to arrest you.
Yep.
We could all be lying.
That's right.
None of that exists in this case.
That's a fact. And even if they were to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt at some point that this man didn't do this, right in your face, they can't unarrest him. They still have to. You cannot unarrest somebody. You have to take this through the court process and all that.
The Idaho 4 killer. Yeah, this poor kid's ruined if he didn't do it.
That's it. For the rest of his life, no matter what he does. And I said this before, if he gets off on this, okay, if he's 100% innocent and gets off on this, they're going to burn Moscow down. He's going to have to go into hiding for a long time. And
they should then not play the games they play. They deserve what they get.
That's right. That is absolutely correct.
I'll make you a $10 donation that you don't got to give me nothing. How's that? Here's the bet.
Okay.
If he has good lawyers, if his lawyers are any good, they're going to challenge the indictment.
I hope so. I was hoping so as soon as I saw it.
If that indictment is based off that DNA, that touch DNA that they've already confessed would not be used in a trial,
right?
Then the indictment is useless.
That's absolutely correct, sir.
If they use any evidence collected after the PCA at that grand jury, then that evidence is useless. The minute you said you were going to use the DNA that you used to get the warrant, that's why they didn't want to keep it in that courtroom.
Right.
That's why they went to the grand jury.
Exactly.
Doomed.
Yeah.
that DNA. Anyway, thank you so much, and I love coming in and listening.
No, and I thank you so much for
people there.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you so very much.
Thanks for giving me the time.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Sarge.
All right. Thank you again, Sarge. I appreciate that very, very much. I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm glad he said that. I'm praying that they challenge the indictment. I really do. I don't know how they would go about doing that. I don't. You know, I've never seen that happen before, but at this point, guys, seriously, I mean, I don't know. Are you still here, Annie?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
All right. What do you think in that aspect about that, the challenging of that possibly?
Oh, I hope they do. I agree. I hope they do. I'd challenge it immediately.
I'm surprised they really haven't, to be honest with you, as of yet. I mean, and not to say that they haven't, but I'm sure it takes some time. I
Yeah,
think
it could also be something that gets filed like Monday, since all the hearings are Monday.
That's what I was just getting ready to say, is that maybe it'll go through on Monday, because everybody and their mother that is watching this case, and if you guys disagree with me, at some point I'm probably gonna have to say you're lying. Okay, that's the only thing. I can almost 150% guarantee you that this man is not going to walk into the courtroom Monday and say, okay, I'm guilty, take me away. There's no way. No way at all.
No.
Okay. And guys, be ready. This trial is not going to hit it's not going to hit the deck until probably 2 years, guys. Seriously. So
I just feel so bad. I really do feel so bad for the families that planned on showing up in June and wanted to hear the evidence and wanted to know, like, yes, this is the guy, we can prove it. And now they don't get that.
Nope. And it's excuse the phrasing, but it's bullshit. It shouldn't be this way. But again, it's all a game, guys. It's prosecution versus, defense versus, which is obvious. What I'm saying is they have to get their one up, and it's all based on what Sarge said. They don't have a case, in my opinion. They do not have any form of a case other than that minimal bullshit that they have, and this is what they have to do to make something happen for them. And it is like a game.
Here's what I was thinking too, right? So say you're the prosecution.
Yes.
You go through all the testing, you get all the lab stuff back, you get all of this, DNA evidence back from the crime scene, blah, 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 right? You have all of these things.
Right.
So we do have to keep in mind, BRYAN could have done this.
Absolutely.
If he did, right? If he did. Now, I don't believe he did, but if he did, there's a high likelihood that other DNA evidence was found at the scene,
right,
that they don't need. So they don't need to use the genealogical. They don't need to use any of that. Obviously, if they have his DNA on a victim, or more than one victim, then it's going to be a big problem for him.
Yes.
I know a lot of people were like, the car, right? If they found victim DNA in the car.
Yes.
And I debated this with someone else on another channel, because I'm like, well, it depends in the car where they find it.
Right.
You're claiming, the claim is he did this alone. So this DNA evidence should be all over the driver's side. If it's all over the passenger side or the back seat, well, then someone else was involved and they were in his vehicle.
Correct.
So there's a lot of aspects. There's a lot of aspects to it. We technically don't know what they have, and the little that we do know they have. To me, it's like, if your case was so rock solid, you would have just went straight to prelim. You don't need a secret grand jury if your case is rock solid.
Right. And the prelim would have been helpful for the defense, and of course they want to stop that. But on top of that, like she just said, they, in my opinion, they don't have a case. Period.
Right.
Take care, Nacho. Thanks.
Unless there's something else obviously, there really could be something else going on behind the scenes, and
Well, they're talking about. Sorry, they're talking about the, the 20,000 pictures or whatever it is, this, that, and everything else. Okay, I'm sure there's some form of evidence in that. Okay. I'm hoping, if for their sake, at least, if that's what it is. But the initial touch or the initial use of touch was all they had, and then used it to investigate him, only to say that DNA don't matter. That's the biggest thing that's wrong with this. I agree, Sarge. That was the whole thing.
Right. Okay.
That was the whole thing. And here's my thing, folks. I said this the other day, and I may be wrong. This is purely speculative, as everything in here is, and a highly alleged. Okay. I have a feeling that when they did this, okay, that they thought that they had this in the bag. And that being said, I think they overstepped and went ahead and did something, and then realized that it wasn't in the bag. And now they have to backstep and cover this and make it look like it's supposed to, for it to go through the way it's supposed to. And that's where I think that's where they're at with this, I think, in my opinion. Okay. That's why
I also find it interesting too that the prosecution would, in their filings, in their response, take it upon themselves to assert that they decide what is and isn't relevant material to the defense.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's not up to the prosecution. Yeah, it's not up to the prosecution to decide what is and isn't relevant
to
the defense or the defendant. If anything that was used, anything that was used by law enforcement to trace, track, monitor BRYAN, he has a right to. So does his counsel. And whether the prosecution plans to use it or not is irrelevant.
Yeah, right. And that's what irritates me, is like, who are you to stand up and say, well, you don't really need that. He doesn't really need that. Yes, he does. This is his life we're talking about. If this man is innocent, he needs absolutely every single possible thing that he can to prove that at this point, because of what you guys are trying to point out to everybody to prove. Okay. So yeah, you don't have the right to do that. These are people's lives, folks. This isn't a game of checkers or a video game or something stupid. This is somebody's life that we're talking about right here. And at this point, this man's life is already ruined. If he didn't do this, he's not going to have any kind of quality of life after this. Okay. If he does, it's going to take a long time. But if he's guilty of this, yeah. Okay. He deserves every bit of it. I absolutely agree. But I have struggled with that, as I said, from the first time they arrested this guy. I have always struggled with that. And I definitely know that he's not by himself on this. If it is him, there is somebody else or more people than that. Okay. I just have problems with it. I have problems with the knife and the knife sheath itself being even part of this, because of the way that these wounds were achieved and the type of wounds they are. I'm not saying that it's not completely part of it, but there's more to it, guys. And that's not being added in here anywhere. And that's a problem. So 100%. This is just, it's definitely a tactic, 100%. Okay. And I just hope, I pray that they challenge this. I pray that Monday, when this all comes out, hopefully we get to see this. I have a feeling we're not going to, though. I hope that Monday, when he goes in to put his plea in or whatever, that's the first thing they do is they challenge the indictment, so on and so forth, and it goes from there. We can only pray. That's all I can say.
Yeah, they robbed BRYAN too. He was planning on getting up there and giving his own expert testimony on the detrimental effects of the media, and they took that away from him too.
That's correct. They took a lot from him, to be honest with you. And this is where human rights and legal rights come into play at this point, guys. You almost have to question that. Is this really legal? Should it be legal, I should say, that they can do this to somebody that is in this position? You have to look at it that way for a second. Like, wow, look what this does. Look what this does to this man's chances of proving himself innocent or guilty.
And everything that law enforcement used to violate his constitutional rights to privacy, his constitutional rights to due process,
Correct.
all of those things. Every single person should be concerned with that,
That's
regardless of whether or not he did it or he didn't do it. If he did do it, then you should be able to follow the constitutionality and present your case based on your evidence. You wouldn't need all of the secrecy and whatnot. I noticed too, in the response from the prosecution claiming, you know, we've already turned over like 10,000 pages and 20,000 pictures, etc., right?
Right.
No, I don't remember seeing anywhere in there that they turned over the multiple 3D scans that were done by ISP of the scene.
No, that's not there. That hasn't been talked about at all.
So, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I noticed that that was something missing, right? So they're trying to say, like, telling the defense, you need to tell us specifically what you think is exculpatory, right? Well, the defense has already done that. The defense has made it clear Bethany is the exculpatory evidence.
Yes.
And they want to speak to her because it's unique to only she can say these things or whatever it is they think she has knowledge of.
Right.
So for the prosecution to go grand jury, secret grand jury indictment, it just made me think, aha, okay. So
Well,
they want to make sure the defense doesn't have access to Bethany, is my guess.
That's it, man. Now, because now, for those of you that don't understand, now that this has happened, folks, we already, okay, Bethany, she did everything she could to quash that whole subpoena. They were supposed to go to Nevada. If they already haven't, I believe they probably did, and sit down and have a conversation with her and do an interview that way, correct? Well, now guess what, guys?
Right.
We're not going to get that. He's not going to get that. The defense does not get that now because of this indictment. So that's
see, I'm hoping the defense has already spoken to her. That's actually what makes me think the reasoning for grand jury, secret grand jury, it would be because the prosecution's aware the defense has already spoken to her, and at prelim, the defense planned to present that.
And well, they have to, don't they have to, correct me if I'm wrong, I may be wrong on this, guys, just bear with me, but which I have a strong feeling that the defense wanted to talk to her bad. So as soon as that was approved, I think they took off and they did it. Okay, so I think they have that. Now, once they have that material, don't they have to share that with prosecution immediately?
Oh, for sure. Which is why I think the prosecution then turned around and said, screw this grand jury.
And there it is, guys. Think about that here and put that in your mind. So we'll just say that this is what happened, that was approved, that defense, Ann Taylor and her team went to Nevada. They sat down. They interviewed Bethany. They got the info. They came back. They had to turn that over to prosecution. Prosecution said, oh, shit. No. We can't. No. And that's where this indictment came from. They had to shut it down right now, which tells me
I think the prosecution's been trying to keep the defense from Bethany the whole time.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I do agree with you. And that's the point right there, folks. That is absolutely it. And that's another good point, Sherry. Ann Taylor's investigator found something and prosecution got scared. I think there's multiple things in that sense that prosecution got scared of. That's why this happened like this. And again, it's bullshit.
I know. I would be demanding. I would be demanding the 3D scans because Idaho State Police already admitted they did multiple 3D scans of the crime scene and the home.
Yeah.
And that was admitted in a press conference. So where are those 3D scans? Because the Faro scans are going to be crucial, especially if you're trying to avoid potential jurors ever visiting the crime scene. You're going to need those 3D scans.
Absolutely. And I agree with you as well on that, Jules. I definitely want to know who in the grand jury was sealed and why. Well, if we know who, that might tell us why. Okay. 100%. So that's another point though. Yes, I agree with you on that, Jules. And yeah, Annie, you're 100% correct. It makes me.
What do you guys think about the theory floating around that BRYAN's a Fed?
Did you hear my little crack theory that I talked about the other day, that he was on doing his own little investigation? That's originally kind of what I thought too. I thought maybe it was like spy versus spy shit with him and Payne, but I think that him and Kaylee may have, entrusted something into him, and he started looking into something possibly for her. And, you know, what better way to prove that you would be a great law enforcement official than to break open some crazy case or something? Okay. And
I'm actually starting to wonder if he came from Pennsylvania, like was pulled from Pennsylvania and brought to Wazoo.
anything is possible.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Everything and anything is on this table, guys. I keep saying it. I will not put anything past it. But the only issue I have with him, you know, being a Fed himself would be, you know, I think things would be a little different at this point if that would have came out. I think. I may be wrong, okay, but I'm just saying. But at this point,
well, that's why part of me thinks that there's been a part of me that wonders, like, wait a minute, is this like a freaking movie that we're watching here, right? Like,
it sure looks like
it's very like Cloak and Dagger.
Oh yeah, one hell of a movie too, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Like this is that's what it reminded me of, and I didn't want to talk about it for the longest time because I've thought this way for quite a while because it does seem so conspiracy like. It doesn't seem like something I would want to believe goes on in our law enforcement, in our judicial systems, just period in general. We're supposed to trust these people. You know, I have friends in law enforcement. And not everybody's that way, and not everybody gets involved in things. But at this point, guys, what else do we have to think? Okay. You know, I mean, there's a lot of variations in this. If you want to go that direction, then there's a lot of Kopaka could be involved in it in that sense. He was a protected person, remember? Military background. I mean, this is what I'm saying, guys. There's a lot that could be reached out for, but there's, you know, that seems like it could be crazy, but in some sense, I really don't know at this point. That's a good point. Bernice said they were going to tear the house down. Why did they want that house torn down so fast, so bad? Think about it. Okay. You know, that's another thing. All these little things that we've been watching go on, all these little things that are happening, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Yeah, and what's strange to me too about the house is like, this is an off-campus house. It's not even owned by the university, but yet the owner took it upon themselves to
give it to them,
transfer it to the university so that the university could have it demolished, which I don't even understand. If you're the homeowner, it's technically your home. It's your property. And you know, without the court, unless the court, you know, if they let it expire, like, you know, the motion to preserve, right, the crime scene, if they let that expire or whatever, and you're the homeowner and you're told you can tear it down, why would you turn it over to the university? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. And here's the thing. If that house was given to the university folks, do you know how much money that house has made that homeowner over the years, and how much more money it would make if it could have been cleaned, of course. But it could be cleaned and painted and this and that and everything else. It's a college property, basically. You know, you could rent that out to multiple people and make tons of money, which he probably did. So now in turn, because this happened, okay, you can just have this. Now I'm done with it. No money exchanges hands or nothing. That doesn't make any sense at all. None at all. And like I said, they tripped over themselves to fence this out and tear it down. They really did. Before, like, the trial, he was even coming to town. Like, why would you do that? I feel like in any scenario like this is a quadruple homicide that the jury should need to see the inside of this house, to walk through this house. Okay? Yeah. That's something that's very important, and that wasn't even thought about, it looks like. They don't care. They want it down.
I'm also baffled at the fact that not a single person who was in that home and summoned to that house was charged with tampering or contamination of a crime scene.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it boggles my mind that law enforcement, hours prior to the lead detectives even arriving, were able to clear so many people
and let them go home for the holidays. How about that one?
Well, I'm not even saying home I'm talking about within the hour.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I know.
Your law enforcement, you roll up on scene to a quadruple homicide. There's, 9, 10, 11 people milling about outside. You know that these people were also on the 911 call because it was stated multiple people there, multiple people on the 911 call. It is, and then you have this latent shoe print. It's obvious the scene was contaminated. And I don't understand how everybody was cleared so quickly and not a single person charged with destruction of a crime scene, contamination of a crime scene, tampering, something.
Right. And if you also, to jump back just a step, Kim here just said that I actually called the realtor board and filed a complaint. The transfer is illegal. She said, I'm a broker and it's shady as F. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yes.
And that's a good
for
point.
Sure.
I appreciate that being put out there. I really do.
I always love it too. I love it when real estate people chime in because they know exactly what's going on. When you see stuff like this, they're like, wait a minute, what?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is probably the worst case as far as dropping the ball that I've seen. And like I said, maybe there is some form of corruption going on. Maybe that's what was going on with BRYAN, guys. Maybe, and again, as I said, maybe this was a kill two birds with one stone scenario. Okay. Who better than to put right out in front to take the fall for this than the person that's trying to expose you? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that's a fact.
Yeah,
guys.
the outsider.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, the outsider from Pennsylvania when everybody else is a local.
That's right. Somebody that nobody knows. Nobody knows anything about this guy, and then all of a sudden, boom, there he is. Now, here's the thing. Imagine this in another world, folks, as if he would have never got involved in this. He'd have never, decided to do whatever he did. If this is what happened, of course. We'd have never known who Bryan Kohberger was. I feel like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's uncanny, guys. It really is, and it's crazy. I'm so
I know that the documents themselves are like, it's crazy when you actually go through them. When you read through some of these defense, the supplemental requests for discovery and stuff, and I'm going, wait, they're missing so much stuff, and they're purposely like, oh, well, you tell us what's exculpatory, and if I'm the defense, I'm like, yeah, it's Bethany. She's the exculpatory. That's who we're asking you for. We're asking you for everything from her.
Yep.
And they don't want to give it up.
Nope. And there's a reason behind that. There is a huge reason. Because I feel that right there is the key. Because for one, I guarantee you, if they had put her on the stand, they would shred her. Okay, Ann Taylor and her team would shred her. And anything, if she's not being truthful, she would break down. They would break her down, and it would come out. And I think
I think Ann Taylor didn't want to shred her, right? I think that Ann Taylor and the defense team wanted to speak to her because they became aware. They're aware of something. Whatever it is that Bethany has, whatever knowledge she has, whatever material evidence they believe she has, they're already aware of. And they know that it was the prosecution keeping them from speaking to her.
Right.
So they subpoenaed her because the prosecution was not handing over what was being asked for since January. So they kind of had to play cutthroat and subpoena her. And her and her lawyer attempted to litigate their way out of it, and it didn't work.
And that being said, okay, now think about this for a minute. That being said, we have all said, the way that this was read to us, again, the language in this with her was that she was afraid to come back to Idaho, like she was scared, okay? And we all questioned that. If they have their man, this and that and everything else, what is she afraid of? But do you really think at this point now that that's what it was? Or do you think that somebody talked to her, legally and said, listen, this is the scenario, this is what could happen, so on and so forth? And do you think that's where this came from?
Right.
I'm just saying, I mean, it looks that way. They can say that's not it, but it sure does look that way.
It does. It sure does look as though whatever the defense was trying to obtain from Bethany, they got. And
Yes.
once the prosecution found out, they said, fuck this, grand
Yep.
jury.
Yes, ma'am. I absolutely agree because they know it. And here's the thing, folks, it must be something real good, because if it's that serious for them to do what they're doing, I think it would have killed the case right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got to be something real good, guys.
And I don't think it's a coincidence either that BRYAN happened to go to Nevada on his way out of Washington, and that also happens to be where Bethany lives.
Yep.
You know, like I don't know. I just don't believe in the coincidences. You know, the whole coincidence theories, everything's a coincidence. After a certain amount of coincidences, it's mathematically impossible that it's a coincidence.
Right. And this is,
There's
again,
a connection.
you're absolutely right. First of all, I have always said this for a long time. There are no coincidences in true crime. Okay. Now, with all this being said and everything that's been talked about, now we go back to what Miss Kim has said to everybody. Okay. And everybody is hitting her and tearing her down for this, that, and everything else. Now we see why I wanted to hear what she had to say and why she was vetted, because a lot of what she's saying makes sense. Do you understand what I mean? It really does. So, again, God bless you, Kim. And thank you for putting yourself out there to do that. Like I said, that took courage. If people don't believe her, I don't care. I do. That's what matters to me. You know what I mean? And if she knows what she's saying, that's what matters to her. So again, this is insanity, you guys. It really is. At this point, truthfully, there's really no reason to show you guys these documents. You guys have seen all this. We're talking about what it is right now. And the most important thing that we're talking about, the biggest part of this, I should say, is the fact that they're trying to suppress this stuff. And I pray that the defense challenges this. I've got my fingers and toes crossed that come Monday.
Where's Mama Bear on this? What does she think about all this?
I don't know.
I mean, do you feel like, based on what we're saying, are you comfortable with their decisions they're making and how they're doing this? Do you feel like
no. It seems very sketch to me.
Absolutely, Kim, no problem.
What do you think? What do you think, Mama Bear, about the possible connection between Bethany and BRYAN?
I don't know. I've not really thought about that a whole lot.
Do you think that could be what the exculpatory evidence is, Mama Bear? That's why they're stomping on it? Because
that, or like I said, with the PCA, where it said video, what was it? Video of...
Well, the video of suspect video.
The video that's supposed to be, that's been hammering her since she first saw that. She thinks that it was video of the vehicle. So yeah, and I agree.
I mean, it could be, but I mean,
that still doesn't make sense. Like a video of a video, like they took a video of a video. Come on.
Sorry, it's right there. It just eats at me.
Yeah, I get it. This whole thing eats at me, and it has. I mean, it really does. When you sit up at 2:00 in the morning going, okay, I have to figure this out. I need to find this. I need to. And now once this was like a slap in the face, you guys realize that. Yesterday morning I got up, first thing I see, and I said, oh, come on. I got sent a DM and I said, you got to be kidding me. And it literally is like somebody slapping us in the face because now we have no choice. We don't get that option now, guys. Now here's the other side of this. If by some chance that the defense challenges this and they get what they need out of it, then yay. Okay, maybe we will get something out of this. But at this point, I don't have faith in that. I really don't. I'm not saying they won't challenge it, but I don't know if they're going to get what they want.
I hope they do challenge it. I'm just seeing Tsunami's comment here. I know he's saying Kohberger has no connection to any of the victims, but Kaylee's father already admitted there is a connection and he wasn't ready to speak on it.
Right. And I think that it's what I was saying. I truly do. I feel like Kaylee was on to something, and she was looking for. She didn't have the knowledge that she needed to have to kind of figure something out. Okay, and I think that she went to him. That's the only part I can't get with this. I cannot make how they made their connection. I've been looking and looking and looking, and I can't find it, and I probably never will. And it's going to eat me alive, but it is what it is. But I think that's the connection, because she was definitely a sleuthy little girl. She was into that kind of stuff. We know that. Yeah. So I think she caught on to something and was like, well, damn. And somehow or another, they had met up, and she went to him because of his education and his background and said, hey, this is what's going on here. Can you help me with this? And of course, Bryan wants to be in law enforcement so bad that this probably gave him a chance maybe to prove himself. He thought, let's do this. And that's what I think this happened, guys, in a sense. I really could feel that. And again, if I'm wrong, then I'm okay being wrong. But I'm not. That didn't make sense to me saying I could really feel that. I could really see that is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. With that, I don't know.
Well, I do think looking at the warrants too are interesting, because if you look at the warrants specifically for Kaylee, you know, it's definitely interesting. I mean, all of the warrants are interesting, but the only way I could see where they might be connected would be either through that Yik Yak app or possibly through Reddit. But when you look at the warrants, there's only one Reddit warrant, and it's only for Kaylee. So
that's only for Kaylee. That's correct.
Whether Bryan, but we also don't know what Bryan gave up voluntarily that they wouldn't need a warrant for. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
For all we know, Bryan gave them full access to his stuff right off the bat. So,
the fact that he said, I can't wait to be exonerated for this, that makes me feel like he probably did do that, Annie, honestly.
Right. It was one thing I noticed in the warrants. The warrants are very, very sparse for Bryan. So it makes me wonder, did he just hand it over? Like, he's got to have a bank account. He's got to have, like a Netflix or something. They hardly got any warrants for anything on him. It's all for the victims and then redacted others.
That's right. That is correct. Which says a lot. It tells its own story, like I said. And it's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Chelsea. I appreciate you for that so very much.
Well, listen, I appreciate you having me up. I'm going to jump off and go make lunch, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.
Absolutely. Annie, thank you so much. I always love having you up here and listen to what you have to say, and your insight is so amazing. So thank you once again.
Well, I appreciate you. Take care.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.
So, and there it is, folks. Like I said, I'm not even going to start thumbing through these documents with you guys because you guys have seen this already. You guys know what's going on, and we're talking about it. So at this point, guys, go ahead and start calling if you want to. I appreciate it so very much. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear your theories. I want to hear it all, guys. Let's do it. Thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate that. He gets all that in the 52 terabyte data dump. Yeah, that still amazes me how much of that there is.
Yeah.
That's just, can you imagine having to be the one to go through that?
Did you hear Dan break that down to like what that's equivalent to?
A little bit of it. I didn't get a chance to hear it all. All right, let's see who we got here.
To accept, press 1. To send
all right.
voicemail, press 2.
Uh-oh, what's going on here?
Call from
Eddie.
That's Eddie.
Jago, how you doing?
I am doing, sir. If you could please try to speak up a bit. It's hard to hear you at times, sir.
How is this sound?
That's better. Can you hear him okay, Mama Bear?
It's a little low, but it's okay. I can crank my volume.
Okay. Turn it up, folks. Let's hear what Eddie's got to say. Go ahead, my friend.
Jago, are you aware that the camera on the tripod behind the house has been debunked?
Camera on the tripod behind the house. I really didn't know much about that to begin with, but no, Go ahead and explain that one, sir.
So I believe it was on your last live show. Me and a couple others, I think it was Annie Potts and Harlan, were chatting about that tripod. And I referred to my notes and I put the receipt on where I last saw that there was the camera from the Moscow photography class at the university.
Oh, okay.
So, so what I did is after you ended your live stream, I went to check to see that, where I had last seen that camera on the tripod.
Right.
So I learned that it was debunked at any rate.
Okay.
Now, can I mention other people's channels on your?
Oh, yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
Well, the receipt on that is Plunder. If you've all heard of Plunder's channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. On her playlist, that's number 31.
Okay. Interesting.
Wait. Let me double check that. I know it's Plunder. Yeah, it is number 31.
Number 31 on her playlist. Okay. Let me jot that down in my handy dandy notebook here. Did you say 30 or 31, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm double checking that right now. It is number 29.
29. Okay. Got you. Thank you, sir, for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think this is not new news. This was debunked on December 12th.
Okay. I really didn't put a whole lot of stock into that. I didn't really look into that a whole lot because of everything else. So, but it's good to know, and I will be going and checking that out again.
And then, real briefly, I'm sure you're all aware of the plainclothes detectives that went into the house in the evening.
Uh-huh.
We've all seen that, right?
The guys that were in the cowboy hats and stuff?
The cowboy hats, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was on December 8th, and Nancy Liu was the reporter, the journalist that was on scene.
That's right.
Now, tell me this, Daigle. Are you aware that has happened another time besides that time?
That was the second time, yes. I did know they were there that they were there at least twice. I did know that.
Okay.
I don't know what it seemed like the second time that they went in and they came out with the bag and they took off. Like they had a purpose at that point.
Yeah. That one has always troubled me. And by the way, that one was the first time they did it, I believe.
I saw one of them. Wait a minute, with the one reporter. Yeah, actually, you're right. Okay. Either way, yeah, they came out with that bag. The one guy had the bag in his hand and they jumped in. They didn't speak to nobody and they were gone. So yeah. I thought they were either marshals or somebody asked if they were rangers. I think they were marshals. That's what I was told, at least. I could be wrong.
Well, that time Brian Ensign was there, and he tweeted that.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know. If someone was on Twitter, that would still be up unless he had removed it, right? I mean, Twitter.
Yeah, it should be up there. I would think. You'd have to go back and find it, but yeah, I believe it should still be there.
So, me not having the ability to check that, but I came across somewhere where it says that this Twitter was deleted by the Twitter author.
Oh.
Whereas Brian Ensign, tore that down.
Well, that must be somebody must have told him to take it down. I can't see him taking anything down that he posts unless he's told to, which is kind of interesting if you ask me.
So that's a mystery to me because, what are they coming out of the house with paper bags for? I brought it up on a different channel call in, but it seemed to fizzle out. And maybe I'm just obsessed about this and shouldn't be, but See, that's a big deal.
I think we all are, bud. I think we all are, to be honest with you. And you have every right to be just like the rest of us. So yeah. It is. There's a lot of little things like that that are highly interesting to me. I absolutely agree with you.
Okay. Well, that's all I have this time. So
No worries. I appreciate you, Eddie. I really do. Every time, any one of you guys, Annie, Eddie, and all you guys. I love hearing what you guys have to say. We both do. I really know that for a fact.
well, I'll hang up and listen now. Thanks again.
Absolutely, Eddie. No problem.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Eddie.
Thank you, Mama Bear.
Absolutely. And let's see. Terry Martin says, "What are your thoughts about the secret room in the house? It sure looks like a clear bag with shoes and other things in it." Yeah. I mean, I really can't speak much on that because I don't know a whole lot about it. I saw that scenario. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to speak on it if I'm not real comfortable with what I have to say. One moment. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Is there anybody there? I guess not. Alrighty then. Seriously? Okay. Caller, call back if you would. Sorry, but I don't know why that had such a delay on it. What was I going to say? It wasn't debunked. The owner is on Facebook and said he wasn't obliged to release who contracted him, not students. Okay. Thank you, Jorm. Thank you, Jorm. Again, thank you, Eddie, for calling in. Whoever that was that just tried to call, please call back. I don't know what happened there. I really don't. Let's see here, guys. There we go. Let's see how this one works this time. All right. Let's try this one more time. Hello. Are you there? There's a delay on this for some reason. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I don't want.
Chelsea.
Oh, right. And it just hung up. What is going on with this? All right, Chelsea. Try calling back again, hon. I'm sorry. It's loud, Sophie. I'm sorry. I even turned it down. It kicks itself back up for whatever. Well, that would be interesting now, wouldn't it, Carolyn? Can you call me? I could probably do that. Yeah, give me a second here. Let me try that. I don't know why it's doing this. Probably because it's overloaded. There was a lot of calls coming through at one time. Okay, let's try this again. And then I'll call the next one back. I seen that was from Minnesota. I will call you back after this one, I promise. Hello, hello?
There we go. I got you.
All right. Is this Chelsea?
Yes, it is. I sent you on the super chat earlier because I haven't heard much people talk about it, but like, I guess maybe it's because my brother is adopted from Haiti. I don't know, but I was just like, it blows my mind that basically what got him arrested, like Annie Pot said earlier, like, I can't believe all these students weren't charged with tampering with evidence, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like, when you think about those cops in that small town, and then you've got all these kids whose parents come from something, I mean, they're up against bigger authority. These people can elect them out, you know? A lot of them probably are parents who live in this state also.
Sure.
Where they could at least try to get them demoted. So, you know, like,
yeah,
it's less scary to try to go after somebody. I'm not saying that he was pinned. I don't know what's going on, but, like, I just picture this. What if this all happened? These students, because Annie's right, they should totally get tampering with evidence.
I think I agree with you, Chelsea. I think anybody that walked into that house that was not law enforcement, that should not have been there, should have some form of a charge against them for being there, for one, and not staying outside of the house, knowing it's a crime scene, and two, yes, tampering. I absolutely agree.
Totally. And then when, like, Plunder had came out, I remember, with these it was documents showing how Brian's parents were bankrupt, and it just makes me sad to think, like, you know, this is, to me, this is almost being allowed in a way by society because he's white. If this was a black guy whose parents were bankrupt and he was pinned and then, not pinned, okay, he was arrested for evidence that later, literally the probable determinant of why he was getting arrested, then they're saying dismiss it. I'm just saying if this was a black person in this position, this would be like, people wouldn't all be against the people who are questioning this, you know?
I agree. I can agree on that.
Does that make any sense?
It does. It does make plenty of sense. Absolutely. I know exactly what you're saying.
Like, with the drugs thing, like, okay, I myself, I got off fentanyl back in Thanksgiving, this last Thanksgiving, and I've been on maintenance for since then, so almost 6 months.
Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you.
Thank you. I can just say, like, I know, I look at both sides, and I know that when I came off of fentanyl right away, and that's very similar to heroin, obviously, but my dreams started being really wild. And, like, basically all the nerves in your system you suppressed for those years,
right,
they start going crazy. So, like, I don't mean to share too much information, but this has to do with the case, and it is what it is. Like, your hormones are going really crazy, if that makes sense. Like, your body is just alive again.
Yeah,
you're
and that's
sensations you didn't.
That's it right there. And that, I absolutely understand. Like I said, being in the field that I was in, I've dealt with this and this and that. And you know, you deal with people, and that's what it is. It basically, your body's dead for however many years that you're doing what you're doing. And luckily you survived it, because a lot of people don't survive it. And that's why I said I'm proud of you, Chelsea. That's an amazing feat. And I think we all are, you know, I think we all are, as people, proud of you for beating that and sticking with that. And I'm so happy for you.
Well, it does make me wonder if Brian, by chance, he was having, you know, a lot of rage or a lot of desires. Like, because I really do. I look at both sides of everything.
Sure.
And then to deal with the girls with the drugs, I look at the photos, and I do think it makes sense. Kaylee dabbled with stuff just because of the group she was in. But honestly, where she was at in that video, I look at her weight. And I personally do not think I know anybody who, even if they were paid $1 million a day, could be using fentanyl and graduate college early. I also do not think that she was doing a lot of uppers at the point, because she was heavier towards the end.
Well, you are right. I have a little bit of a different theory that I haven't really shared about Kaylee's weight. I haven't really said anything. It's just something that I've been thinking about.
Well, she's beautiful. It's not like
absolutely
to say anything about her weight.
Not at
like,
all.
She was healthy and voluptuous and gorgeous.
100%. She was. They were all beautiful people.
Right.
You know, even Ethan, he was a very handsome young man. And none of it deserved what it was. Not at all.
What is your theory on the weight? I'm curious.
I don't really want to go into it because there's no proof of it, and I don't want to say something.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
no, I do not think that these people were using heavy. Maybe it's just anytime I try to get a narrow theory here, like,
they look healthy.
Those things, the odds of a group of us, like if I had 4 people here right now, the odds of all of us sitting here doing blues or fentanyl or whatever they were selling, the odds of 2 of us overdosing at the same time we're both smoking it, that's out of the question. Okay, so either one person overdosed and everybody got stabbed, or no, numerous people didn't overdose and then they covered it up. That doesn't work unless somebody ran in with a syringe filled with fentanyl and injected each of them. Like, it's just, to me, the whole cover-up thing, I mean, think out of the box. But when I try to get a narrow theory, okay, what is the theory? Let's get an exact theory on Emma and D. A theory, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody's being direct.
Right.
Nobody's. So yeah, that's kind of where I put
well,
it.
as far as what you said, that's what I was getting ready to say, Kim, 100%. Is these kids, I don't think they had serious drug issues. They all looked very healthy, okay? They looked healthy. I've seen, not to talk bad about anybody that has a drug problem, but when you're into that kind of stuff on a regular basis, your eyes are sunken in and you lose a lot of weight in a lot of senses. You don't look very healthy, guys. And they looked very healthy. They looked healthy and happy. So if anything was being used, it was very, 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 very slightly recreational is all it was. Okay. And that's my opinion. So yeah.
And you don't have that light in your eyes. Even
right.
when I look back on photos of me when I was
You're right.
up and looked good, I don't have that light in my eyes that they all have. Ethan has it, Dana has it. On that last day, they all had a light.
That's right.
And a happiness that was natural from the spirit. And
they're alive.
Stolen on fentanyl.
That's right. They are alive. Fentanyl will deaden you and numb you. And heroin, same thing. It deadens people, guys, from the inside out. They're just not. It's basically a soulless body is what these drugs do to people. It's disgusting.
Yep, I heard you say on my Shell show, I heard you say fentanyl or whatever, opiates are not a drug. They are
a weapon. They're a weapon.
Like, gosh, that is so good. I'm taking that to my next meeting because that is so true.
They are.
It is a weapon.
That's exactly what it is. That's how I look at it. That's what I've always looked at it as. I've never had I took opiates for a little while when I hurt my back. My thing was I had a tendency to drink. Okay. I would drink. I drank a lot, guys. And I haven't had a drink in 4 years because it got to be, I just didn't like it anymore. I didn't like what I felt like. In some sense, you kind of feel dead inside from these things, guys. It doesn't matter what it is. It will do that to you. These substances are horrible. You know what I mean? So, absolutely. It is a weapon as far as I'm concerned. So, it's a weapon that some people use on themselves.
So I'm glad I just found it. And yeah, I just wanted to call in and say all that. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And keep doing what you're doing. You're appreciated.
And I appreciate you so very much. Thank you, Chelsea. And once again, congratulations. We are all so very proud of you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Chelsea. I appreciate that. Very much so. I agree, Kim. I do. Or Pop Steam. I'm sorry. I'm just used to. This car is very bright. The world is better with her in it. I'm glad you're. Thank you. That's right. Absolutely. Thank you, Sudi. I appreciate that. All right. Let me get this call back here. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with your calls. My apologies. My apologies. Exactly, Sylvia. And I say that as we guys, as a human being saying that to her. So, hello, you're live with the Dago and Mama Bear. Who is this?
Laura.
Lori?
Yeah.
Oh, welcome, Lori. Thanks for calling us. What's going on?
I've just been following the case, and I don't know if this is any relevance, but you know that Banfield, when they had that 911 call?
Yes, ma'am.
For the disturbance. In the background, you can hear, stop it. What I'm thinking somebody's saying is take your effing coat and leave me alone.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe they were out walking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very possible. Very possible.
And also, that house is a little creepy. And what I'm thinking too, and that, I know Messenger 11 brought it up about the noises you can hear.
Yeah.
But when I was watching it, I heard it as well. And I was shocked when she said something. Not that, and then I was watching a few other channels, and they're saying that there is something in that house. So actually, I'm thinking what a way to get rid of it quickly, you know, that it'll be covered up.
Sure, absolutely. I can agree with that. I've always thought from the moment that they decided they were going to tear that house down, like boom, 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 before the trial even got close to being started or any parts of it, they wanted to tear it down. That was a problem for me because it shouldn't have happened like that. That trial, that house and the inside of that house, I feel is needed for this trial, but they didn't think that for some reason.
And I kind of do agree with you, sort of, about him maybe helping one of the girls in the home.
Absolutely.
And or there is something around that. I don't know what it would be, but it makes sense.
It does. Well, yeah. and here's the thing, Lori.
Many opinions, but
right.
As far, let me get this one, but I don't think the feds, he's a fed or anything like that, because not in this day and age. I mean, it wouldn't be, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I don't feel that at all. You know, there's some things that I do think and feel in certain senses, but not that at all.
Not at this point in time. I don't see that being the...
Right. I agree with you. Thank you, Charlotte. I appreciate that. I do agree with you in that sense that I don't believe that either.
It would be a good thing, but yet to be known, you know?
Right. Absolutely. You never know. Something might pop up here in the future. The way this case is going, it's nothing that would surprise me.
I never felt he really did it, or if he... There's not in the timeline, not with 4 people, 1 person, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
No way.
Right. Not, that's the one thing that didn't make sense with me. I, you know, in the beginning, I tried to make myself believe it because that's who they arrested. I wanted to go with the flow. I wanted to make it, you know, okay, this is it. And then as I'm looking at what they're showing everybody, Mama Bear was the same way. We would sit here and go, we'd look at each other and say, no. That doesn't make sense. There's no way. And then I talked to a couple people who laughed at me when I told them the amount of time it took them to do this. And he said, that didn't happen. I said, well, yeah, that's what they're saying happened. No, it didn't. There's no way that happened. So, and people argue that point that said, absolutely, you know, one person could do this in 9 minutes or whatever the time allotted is with a knife. I can't. My biggest problem with that whole scenario has always been the obstacles. If that was one person, the obstacles that they went through to get to what they had to do. No, I just can't. I can't agree with it. I've tried. I just can't do it. So it is what it is.
And then also, I don't know. I have another question. The other question I forgot already.
Oh, it's okay.
You know that leak audio? Is that real? Is it leaked, or because it does? I mean, it really sounds like Ethan's voice.
I think that it has been debunked. Okay. There is a piece of audio that was put out supposedly that is real, that has been heard, and it's very minimal, and it's not like the Ring camera stuff that we were listening to. I tried that different directions to try to make that work, and it's just not.
You can pick up names in that too.
Yeah, you kind of can. Right, which is why I think it was debunked like that. So it would be nice though, because it would tell a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
thank you very much.
No, thank you. We appreciate you very much. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You have a good day.
Yes, ma'am. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Call from
Why does it keep hanging up every time you accept these calls?
It's weird.
Every time I go to accept one, it's boom, boom, boom. What's up, T-Rev?
It's a ghost.
Thanks for jumping in, bro. Let me call this one back here real quick. See if this one works out. Is it going to call? Hello? You are live with Mama and the Dago. What's going on?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Who are we speaking to?
I had a couple questions.
Yeah. Who am I speaking with?
Juan.
Juan, welcome. Okay, thanks for calling, Juan. Go ahead. What are your questions, sir?
So, basically, I remember that night. I was working on a Saturday and basically, I was on the police radio, just scanning, and there was a lot of activity on it. So I got a notification, and it was the day before the phone call. Where they found the bodies in the morning.
So the 12th?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was listening to a recording, to a phone call, and I think I recorded it that night, but I was talking to my manager, and I was saying, hey, this is really weird. This is happening right now. A bunch of cops in that area were saying that they were looking for a suspect, that there was a murder that occurred.
The night of the 12th?
It was on the 12th, but around 12 o'clock at night, around 11 or 12. And I didn't know if it was associated with murders.
Yeah.
Idaho murders.
All right. So what you heard then around midnight on the 12th? Repeat that again, Juan.
Yeah, I heard the police on the radio saying that there was a murder and they were looking for a suspect.
And that was Moscow, Idaho.
It was in Idaho. I don't know if it was Moscow. I have the recording. I'm gonna go check it. And see if I still have the recording on my app. Okay. But do we know for sure that basically there was no activity the night before over like the police radio? There's no evidence of that.
No, we don't know because a lot of that stuff was redacted. We weren't able to get a hold of it within a couple of days of that, the 13th. But if it's Moscow, Idaho, I'd love to hear that, or at least hear the type print for whatever it was. It'd be kind of interesting.
I'm sorry?
I said that would be kind of interesting to hear about. So yeah, if you find that and you have it, I would love to either hear it or have you read it or explain it. You know what I mean?
No, definitely. It's just a coincidence for me that I was listening to that night. I remember that night I was talking to my manager and I was saying, man, this is going down. They're looking for a murderer. And it just sounded so similar. And I just don't think that there was another, like, I don't know. How many, there could have been many crimes that happened the night before that night.
Right.
But this one got really popular. So I'm going to have to go back and check the recording.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because that is an interesting piece of info. If it was in that same area at that time, then absolutely. Where are you calling in from, Juan?
Texas. I live in Killeen, Texas, right near the Fort Hood base, and
okay.
I usually do a lot of investigations. Like recently, there was a soldier that passed away.
Okay.
And what's weird is my brother's friend that works as a paramedic in training.
Yes, sir.
Actually had to go to that call.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah, that's
really weird and odd, and just a lot of, like basically the soldier, they're trying to say that she had committed suicide, but you can't commit suicide with a shotgun,
Well, you can. I've been on that scene before. It's hard to do, but it was
in a public parking lot. It was outside, so a lot of the things that they're saying,
yeah,
they're covering up. So I'm used to the Fort Hood base covering a lot of stuff up.
Sure.
Like being so close to it.
Oh yeah,
I get a lot of like local,
right.
Maybe conspiracy, whatever.
No, I get it.
This one was so close.
Yeah, I get it. Do you listen to like regular? You're in Texas, but do you listen to like the scanner like all over the states regularly, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I got this police radio app. It's a really good app because if people start jumping on a call or there's a lot of activity,
yeah,
send out notifications so people could just listen in. And
gotcha.
It was a coincidence. Maybe I do have something. Maybe I don't. I just want to call in.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
If anybody knew anything about?
I didn't hear. From what I understand, Moscow was quiet that night, the night before. Yeah. From what I understand, but how often do you listen to Idaho? Well, before that happened, how often did you listen to Idaho?
Not regularly. Just, you know, I just hopped on to whenever something got really popular, and I'd either record it because, you know, a lot of evidence changes, or a lot of statements, you know, don't make sense when you check the recordings, and and the times, you know, the times are always weird with a bunch of these cases.
Yeah.
Like they don't know exactly what time. They'll say, oh, it was in the morning, or it was in the night, or it was on the 13th, or it was on the 12th, and they just can't come up with a precise, you know, time.
Right. Which, if I can ask you, because I'm curious to use it myself, maybe, which app do you use?
Let me see. I have it right here.
Right.
It's called the Scanner Radio Pro.
Is it like Orange?
Yeah.
Okay, I actually use that one too. It's a pretty good app. It really is.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I didn't hear of anything going on in Moscow on the 12th, like I said, but you know, that who knows, you know?
Yeah, I'll definitely check my recordings and see if I can send it to you.
Right. Are you not to get too like personal with you? Are you a soldier as well?
No, I'm just here near the Army base. I've been growing up here for a while.
Okay. Did you happen to be listening? Did you hear anything that went on with the radio traffic for the Brent Kopaka situation by chance?
I don't think so.
Okay. But yeah, absolutely. If you can find that, and I would love to hear that, as would everybody else, I'm sure, just out of curiosity, because it's so close to the time and date that happened. You know, it would be interesting to hear.
No, definitely, and I just want to see if anybody else heard anything about. I mean, if it's for sure that it happened in the morning, like there's no way that anything could have, you know, happened before. So I'm just gonna go check that recording now and see.
Sure thing. And if you get anything and you find it, give me a call back or whatever. We want to hear it. So.
Okay, I will.
All right, Juan. Thank you so much for calling in, brother. I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for getting me on here. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the call. That's interesting. I had not heard anything whatsoever about that. Like I said, from what we understood, what I was told is that it was quiet the night before. Let me try this one here, because I don't think I was able to call this person back the first time. Again, guys, I'm trying to keep up with the calls. My apologies. Some of them have jumped off the other side and knocked the other ones out, whatever you want to call it. Whoever this was from Apple Valley, Minnesota. Hello? Oh, yeah, we won't do. All right. I tried calling you back, Minnesota. I'm sorry, but I missed your call. If you want to try to give us a call back now, you can try. It's kind of quiet. But again, thank you guys so much for calling back. I appreciate that so very much. So, you know, guys, like I said, I try to go along, and I wish most everybody would, but it's hard to do that. That's the way society is, you know, in the whole innocent until proven guilty scenario. That's the way this country's supposed to be set up. It just doesn't go that way. And everybody has had this man guilty because of what we've seen, what's been given to us. And at some point, we really don't have a choice to not say he's guilty. But, you know, like I said, innocent until proven guilty. When I see the proof, then I will say I agree. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate that so very much. If anybody else did want to give a call in here, please feel free. I'd love to hear your opinions, thoughts, and theories on this. You guys have all had some very good points, some good insight, and some good theories and opinions, guys. I love hearing it. We both do. I know that for a fact. I think everybody does, to be honest with you. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, man. What is going on here? There we go. Okay. We're good now. My microphone all over the place. And if, for those of you in chat that haven't, I still your opinions and your theories and your thoughts, guys. It's all important to us. I've tried to keep up with everybody's. I'm trying to read as many as I can. Mama Bear has been clipping these up just as much as I've been trying to. It's just trying to keep up, guys. And we appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Seriously. Now we're fighting for him.
Right.
Take away the sheath DNA. They now refuse to use the trash DNA match for, and they literally have no case. I don't understand why any of this is happening other than bullshit. And I agree. Thank you so very much, Jules. Because it just does not make sense. It does not make sense. It doesn't go together. It doesn't fit. It's just not right. It is just not right. And I cannot follow the narrative that they're wanting us to follow. I can't do it. I've literally tried, folks, to sit here and go, okay, all right, okay, I'll take that and I'll take this. And then somewhere within an hour of me doing that, I throw my hands up and go, what are you, stupid? No, we're not going to go with that. It doesn't make sense. So there it is, guys. I'm a person that has, just like with aliens and ghosts and this and that. If you show it to me, I'll believe it. Okay. I'm one of those people. I need to see something to believe it. I have yet to see any kind of real proof to make me believe that this man did this yet. So in a sense, I kind of want him to be guilty so that this can be real and it can be over for these families and it can be dealt with the right way. But I can't, guys. I can't. Oh, man. What do we got going here? Annie Potts bingo. What did you say this time? Annie says the easiest way to prevent an exculpatory witness out if a preliminary and prevent motions to suppress from being filed is to go the secret grand jury. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Thank you, Annie. That's another good one, Heather. If it smells funny where there's smoke, there is a fire, and it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Guess what, guys? It is a duck. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm waiting to see what's next now at this point, okay? Monday is going to be interesting, to say the least, okay? Now, after Monday, well, and that's why I'm really not banking on anything until we see what happens Monday, but I'm curious. I'm very curious. I know in my mind that he's going to say not guilty, of course, okay? But I'd like to see what else defense has in store for that day, because I think there's going to be a lot more. I really do.
I guess my biggest issue is I cannot come up with a motive for him to take out 4 people like that.
You know, and yeah, I agree with you, Mama Bear. Just like we had talked about this before.
Yeah.
He spent 10 years of his life or more. He's been to 2 schools after multiple degrees, going after all of this education to just say, okay, one day, piss on it, I'm done, and end your life. Because that's what he's doing. If he did this, he's ending his life.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, even if he is 100% innocent, his life was kind of gone by the far anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they sealed grand jury witnesses, do y'all think it was one or both of the girls or a mix of law enforcement that talked in front of them? If it was Lee, then wouldn't? Yes, I do. All of that, Jules. I do. At least one, if not both of the girls, and a mixture of law enforcement. Yes, I agree. I mean, what else would it be? What else makes any kind of sense in that scenario? Nothing does. Nothing at all. Yeah, right, Carolyn. He's supposed to be at the highlight of his life. And supposedly this kid was a heroin addict, and he kicked that for the most part from what we know. And he went ahead and changed his life around and decided to get involved in criminal justice and law enforcement. And he did it. And he got, what did he get? A master's degree in psychology. That's not a joke. And was working on a doctorate or a PhD in criminology. I mean, what? So let's just throw it away one night, and I'm going to go unalive 4 people for whatever reason, because I want to see if I can do it. Or come on, none of that makes any sense. It just doesn't fit. And then you may disagree with me, everyone, okay? But I know Mama Bear doesn't, because we've talked about this too. And my mind kind of turned, and I think that's what happened with her when we watched the traffic stop with the female police officer.
Yeah.
There was something about that whole body cam video that told me something different about him. There was something about the way that he acted, and then it made me look back, and I did this. I watched that, and then I went and watched the stop in Indiana, both of them, and the way he acted there. And then the way he looks in the courtroom, and the way he looks when he's walking to the courtroom. I like to observe people, folks, and I always do. So I went back and I observed him a little bit more. I can't see it. I don't see it, and I don't feel it. There's some people, he may have that deep, dark look in his eye, as people were saying. Well, look what he's going through. That could deaden anyone's mind and their eyes. Maybe it's not even maybe it's that people want to see that look in his eyes because of who he is right now. Okay? You know, our mind is a strong thing, guys. It'll make us think and feel certain things, even when we're not supposed to or don't want to. Okay? And again, I'm not saying that BRYAN Kohberger is innocent of this. Okay? What I am saying is that he's innocent until they prove him guilty, because that's what our country tells us to do. And that's what we're supposed to do as a people. Okay? But I can't feel, okay, let me put it this way. Richard Ramirez, when we saw him in videos, Charles Manson, Ted Bundy was a hard one, but Gacy, when we watched videos of these people, there's a feeling you got, I feel like with me it was, almost near immediately, that these guys are crazy. Okay? They're guilty. I don't get that with BRYAN Kohberger, folks. I just don't. And I really, truly wanted to. I'll be honest with you. I wanted this to be the suspect, for this case to be over, to go to trial, to do whatever they're going to do so that these families could get closure and feel some sort of normalness again. I can't do it because I don't feel like it's him. So as far as that's concerned, that's how I feel about that. Yeah. Are we talking about his sisters that lost their jobs? Yes. Yeah. See, that's just sad to me. Even if it was him, they had nothing to do with it. Just because you're related to a murderer doesn't mean you're a murderer.
Yeah, that made me really mad too.
Very possible, Susan. Which in turn could be the reason for the look that everybody thinks they're seeing. Okay. You know, he could just be different, guys. There's people that are just different sometimes. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that my son's different, but he's still a great person. He's got a beautiful heart. He's an amazing person, but he's different. That doesn't mean you're a bad person because you're different. Okay. They never showed us the Elantra in question. Phone pings don't mean much. With a 15-mile radius, the two schools went back and forth all the time. That's nothing to me. Yeah, that makes sense. Good point. Yes, I feel he has Asperger's. Thank you. Very OCD. If you look at that dashboard, 100%. 100%. I'd like to see what his apartment looked like when he lived in it. It was probably spotless.
Yeah.
Spotless, folks, I'm sure. Okay. I have OCD, and I have it bad. You can ask my family. It's bad. We have 4. I'll give you an example. If we have 4 placemats on our dining room table, they have to be perfectly square and centered. And if my wife and my family think it's funny to mess with me, and they'll walk past and they'll turn them cockeyed like this, knowing that I'm going to walk over there and fix it, and they'll do it again, and then I'll go back and fix it again. It's a joke to them, but it's a fact, folks. People have things like this. That's real. Also, he could have been undercover and it went sideways, really sideways. He could blame himself. Everything is on the table, Kim. Everything.
Exactly, Elwing.
Drug addicts are not PhD students. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Telling you. What happened here? It was probably spotless with everything in its place at all times in alphabetical and chronological order and any kind of order that he can find that's needed. Yes, because I do the same thing. I'm not as bad with that anymore, but I used to be. Listen, I used to be so bad that if I would write something in cursive and I would look at it and I didn't like it, I ripped that paper out and I started again. I went through half a notebook one day doing that because I did not like what I was writing. That's how bad it can be, people. That's a fact. Okay. It is a fact. Shoes have to be sitting by the door. You know, you take your shoes off, they have to be all sitting symmetrical. My grandkids drive me insane because they'll come in, and I know they're not doing it on purpose, but they'll put their shoes backwards on the way they're supposed to be. Okay. No. So yeah, it can be bad. It can be real bad. Not to mention, this man is vegan, right? And did he or did he not throw a fit about cooking something in a pan that had meat cooked in it? Again, that's not just because he's vegan. That's an OCD scenario too. So I feel I can agree with the Asperger's thing. I really can. And that's the other thing. Thank you, Susan. People that are on the spectrum in one form or another are very, very smart and intellectual in other ways. Okay. Maybe not so much, you know, it just depends on where you get it at. You know, my son's thing is music. Like it just happens. Now, academically, forget that. We're done. But and this could be Brian. Brian could be academically that person. Okay. I still want to know where the vegan thing came from. I'd like to confirm that smart people know to say you're vegan in jail. Yeah, it's true. Very true. Repulsion to blood. That's another thing. How does that even fit?
Yeah. Because that was the wrong way to unalive all 4 of those if you have a repulsion to blood.
Yeah, if that's the case, that's when the gun comes into effect. That way there's very little blood and you walk away. Or something else, poisoning or something where there is no blood. Yeah. Not the thing that makes the most blood possible. No, sorry.
Yeah.
There's too many things that point the other direction from. Everybody says everything points to him. Like what? Show me one thing that points to him. I want to see it. I'd love for somebody to show me some proof that points to Bryan Kohberger that he did this. Because I haven't yet. And I've looked for it, but there's nothing there. Yeah, I heard it, Jules, but I don't know when, where, and if it was verified. But if it's true, I mean, that pretty much puts that fire out completely. I have heard people say, and don't take this the wrong way, Jessica, but this bothers me. I have heard people say you can see it in his eyes. Well, you get arrested and wrongly accused of murdering 4 people, and see how you look. That's a good point. People say that all the time. Look at his eyes. Look how dark. Look how evil. They said his eyes looked like that in the traffic stop by the female cop. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Nancy Grace was an idiot in that interview, in that segment. She was a complete idiot with that segment, guys. I never was a big fan of hers. That just put the icing on the cake. She's a jackass. I'm sorry, but that was bullshit. He did not do anything like what she said he did. Nothing. He was very respectful, very polite. He wasn't rude. He did not demand for that woman to go back to her car and do that. She offered that. All he said was he wanted to know if that was a law, if she didn't mind. He was very nice about it. So she's full of shit. I'm sorry. Completely full of shit. And I hate that when people do that kind of stuff on purpose well, he has to be because he's the suspect. We're going to make him as evil as we can. Oh, yeah. That's an understatement, Mojo. Whatever she can do to draw attention to herself, to put her in the center of it. Yep, there it is. Me too. Me too. Let her come in here. Please let her come in here because I'll tell her exactly how I think of her. I've been wanting to for a long time. And like Jules just said, that right there was the icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad. That was a joke. That's right. That's another thing too. It irks me so bad when people judge based on looks. We definitely should be evolved from that. I mean, come on. We should have learned our lesson from Ted Bundy on that one. Okay. Did the same thing to Damian Eccles. Yep, that is true. Who thinks Brian was never in the house? Not that night, at least. And if he was, it wasn't to do what he did. Somebody else came to me 3 days ago and sent me a message and said, Dago, you know the part where they said Dylan said she heard somebody say, it's okay, I'm here to help? I said, uh-huh. Think about that for a minute, folks. If he was in the house, maybe that's what he was saying. Because there was multiple people in that house, I think. That came out of Chief Fry's mouth. There was other people there that night. He can't take that back. I'm just saying, guys. Innocent until proven guilty. Now, I'm going to make a solemn promise right here and now. Mama Bear is my witness. If this goes through and it hit, 25 years from now when it goes to trial.
25 years. Oh, my goodness.
Just saying. Oh, sorry about that, Chick Antique. Thank you, though. Probably 2 years, folks, is my guess for the trial. But, yeah, I'm thinking 2 years at least. But here's the thing. If it goes to trial and it comes out and they have rock solid proof that Bryan Kohberger did this, I will stand here and scream to the world, I was completely wrong. This man is a piece of crap murderer and deserves everything he gets. I will do that. I have not one qualm with doing that because I have no problems being wrong. I just don't think this time I am. The true crime of the day. Brian's eyes have an intensity, a focus, and a lot of pride. He's very calm and rational. Very much so. I can agree with that, Hash. I can agree with that. But again, you guys got to understand something. If he's very possibly on the spectrum, that intensity and that focus is probably because of that. And this is not a Bryan Kohberger is innocent chat room, folks, by any means, okay? I'm just expressing what I think based on what I have seen. And what I see law enforcement and the prosecutors doing, it just does not work. It doesn't fit. Well, here's the thing, Silver. If it was somebody that was known or a stranger, if a stranger walks in or sees something that goes down or hears something that goes down and decides to run in, didn't Brian save or help somebody else in the past? Remember that story? Mm-hmm. We're human beings in the end, guys. If he came through and it was towards the end of whatever happened, it's okay, I'm here to help, but it was too late. And he looks around and holy shit, and he runs. Because guess what happens if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time? You get accused of murder. And I can agree with that too, Hash. That was something else I had said based on that weird theory that I said, that he could have, the whole turning around and all the pulling up and backing up things that he did. Maybe he heard what was going on in that house and said, I'm out, which is why he sped off like they saw the car that they're saying that they saw. There are multiple possibilities with this, guys, but the one thing I just don't think is a possibility, as of right now, I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but I don't think it is, that he did this. I just don't.
Like I've said before, I don't know that he's 100%
right
innocent. I feel like he had some kind of involvement, whether good, bad, whatever.
Something, yeah.
But yeah, I don't see him being the one that physically did the deed. I feel like it's more of the brain, the mastermind or whatever.
Here's the thing, guys. Whether it's a good involvement, a bad involvement, he's involved in the sense that somehow or another, somebody in that house knew him in one form or another. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in the position he's in right now. Okay. And that's how I feel about it. Good to see you, Cindy Ann. And American Princess. And Deborah Vanden Heuvel.
Hello.
My Asperger's grandson graduated with honors at 20 from USC. Congratulations, Grandma. He's super smart and he would never hurt a fly. He is super sensitive. He's OCD, but a great person. He has anxiety. Never would he hurt anyone. That's my 17-year-old son. Okay. That's me. I'm ADHD, chronic ADHD, probably borderline spectrum for autism or some sort. I couldn't hurt a person if I tried to. Not saying that goes with everybody, okay? I'm just saying I can agree with you, Deborah. And again, congratulations for having that amazing grandson. Yeah, him doing this physically makes no sense. It sure don't. Him playing a very strategic game, though, I have 2 complete 180-degree theories. Yes, so do I. But I still see legit no. They're not giving us a connection, though, Jules. That's why. Even with the proof they're trying to say beyond the benefit of the doubt, he did this because of this, this, and this, it does not put him there. If they would just say, okay, here's our evidence. Now, if they come out with some damning ass evidence and say, look, folks, we told you, okay, I'm a dumbass. I was wrong. But you didn't show us that, so I had no reason to believe that. Hey, Dago, do you know why on the police record for the day of the 13th, it shows the 911 call as an unconscious person, but yet it's listed as a homicide? The only thing I can think with that, Janine, is that it initially started as an unconscious call and they had to change it to what the actual call was. I've done in that, like, you know, in fire service, we've had to do that. We've had 911 calls that start off as somebody's nauseous, and by the end of the call, they're in a cardiac event, which that does happen. That's the only thing I can think of for that. No, Brittany, definitely not. And we're not going to. Not until this actually is in trial process. We won't hear that call. We may not hear it then. The way they've been doing things, who knows? I wouldn't doubt Brian was asleep at home during the murders. Well, it's possible, Alien, but, you know, they're saying he was here at this time and there at that time and doing this, and his phone was on and off, and it's very possible. But, again, we just don't know. I am more inclined to think he was aware something was going down, and he did go to check it out. Agree with the thought Kaylee may have clued him in on something. Bad timing. He's the patsy. That's a good way to put it, Party. I agree with you on that. I really do. I really do. Yep, we were heading the same direction again. You got it first this time. They teased the 911 call being released the literal day before. Yeah, they did. Oh, I was so mad about that. I was so mad about that. I said bad words that day. I promise you I did. Lots of bad words. Why are the news channels now calling it he is accused of stabbings opposed to murders? Because they can't say that until he is actually, you know, I think convicted of it. Yeah. That's a great question there, Richard. Jules said, me too. Novels of bad words. Yes. Words that I had never said before. I was so mad that day. This is a good question here. Janine says, Dago, what do you think of Detective John? Should I answer that?
Nicely.
Yeah,
Response.
he thinks it's ridiculous to think he's innocent. I'm not sure he is the best detective if that's what he thinks. Listen, guys. I am not a personal fan of Detective John. Mama Bear can attribute to that. She knows. I had a full conversation about that, and it wasn't a nice one. But I have listened to things he said.
Either, but
I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying that he's a bad detective. Okay, but it's not ridiculous. Being a detective, he should know better than to say this. It's not ridiculous to think he's innocent. Why is that ridiculous, folks? That's just as much as for me to to say it's ridiculous to think he's guilty. But it's not. It's not at all. Okay. I'm not a fan. I'm sure he's a nice person. I'm sure he's a good officer. I just don't think that being a detective is, you can't say things like that. Okay. He's dead set on the fact that Brian's guilty no matter what anybody says to him. Okay. Whatever then. That's his call. I'm not going to say anything bad about him if that's what you guys think. I'm not going to do that. But I just don't like the way he does things. That's all. And that's okay. He maybe he wouldn't like me. And that's okay. We can agree to disagree, guys. That's what it is. That's that right there. Thank you, Carolyn. That's what I don't like about Detective John. Not him as a person. It's our constitutional rights, folks. It's the United States of America, folks, that it's our law that you are presumed innocent until guilty, not you are guilty until proven innocent. Okay? And that's what he doesn't do. And as a detective, a law enforcement official, he should do that. Okay? That's what I was going to say, Jules. He may not even be active anymore, guys. And if he's, that would make sense. He would be great to debate with, but I agree, Annie. The only problem is I have a tendency to get high blood pressure sometimes, and I think that that's what would happen if I got into a debate with John. Because we would go back and forth for hours because neither one of us would want to lose that. You know what I mean? Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that very much. I don't know about the best, but I appreciate the thought at least. He was itching to say something important on PB 2 nights ago. Yeah, I saw that. He had said he had a bombshell, and then he would never say it. Like, don't say things like that unless you're going to put it out there. He said, I have a bombshell that'll put all this bullshit to rest. Well, where's it at, bro? Let's hear it. But it never came out, so. I wake up. I've done that too, Jules. My mods know all about my blood pressure thing happening. They know. Most of the time, believe it or not, it's because of my stupid internet company. So
9 times out of 10.
Yeah. I think all innocent until proven guilty is not how he attacks the situation. His fellow law enforcement is his loyalty. I respect that, and I do as well. I respect that he listens, as do I, and I hold no ill will to him. Absolutely. I just don't like how he handles things. That's all. As a person, like I said, I'm sure he's a great person. But this case alone, I was the only thing I've ever seen him attached to, so I don't know anything else about him. Oh, his bombshell was no body cam in PA. Okay. How is that a bombshell? Because that goes the other direction for what he's what he thinks, doesn't it? Yeah, I know, Susan. That was one of the that was the night that I kind of had my blow up, and I talked to Mama Bear about him. Was when he did that. Police off the cuff say no one believes. You're right, Elwing. That's the way society is. It's sad, but it's true. And here's the thing. I've been guilty of that. I'm going to share a case with you guys one of these days, okay? That was a personal case for me and a very close person to me. When we were 12 years old, that was horrifically unalived by 2 adult males, okay? That one is still sitting on death row to this day, and this happened 35, almost 40 years ago. All right? I'll share that with you, and I'll tell you where the whole innocent until proven guilty thing changes for me. But there is a fine line, guys. There really is. There's a fine line. Yeah, you're right. It is interesting to listen to Annie and him debate. I love it. That's a good point, Sylvia. I just want things to be above board, done correctly, etc., etc. And whatever the real truth is, please let it come out. True justice. Amen. And thank you. If he is guilty, get it done correctly. If he's not, then it's not okay. Thank you so much, because that's exactly how I feel. Word for word.
Really, Gina?
The bombshell was on T-Rev last night that he thinks every other one of the channels are idiots. Oh yeah, I've heard him say that. And should all be shut down. Correct. It is what it is. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. So be it. One side thinks it may not be BK. The other side thinks it is BK. No matter the outcome, the first side will be the right, whereas it can only go one way for the other side to be right. Good point, Eddie. Good point. House noise complaints are very suspicious. People don't buy that close to college if noise bothers them. Those noise calls were signals for, well, I mean, it could be, Laurel. It very well could be. Yeah, no transparency is in public courts is nothing but secrets and lies they are trying to hide. In this scenario, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Detective announced on PVs he's starting his own channel in order to call out the Kims and Daves. Do your thing, bro. I hope it works for you. Good luck. Each one of us does things a different way. Okay? There's a lot of us out here. We all do it our own way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know? It is what it is. Right. Right. Oh, let's see. The irony is he was complaining about how channels charge fees to chat in the lives, and tier of went to members only, so you had to pay to join the chat. Laugh aloud. You don't have to be a member in here to join chat at all. That's not every channel. Channels that do that, I do disagree with that. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have to be a member to be in the chat and talk. That I disagree with. I will agree. It's a choice that you guys have to want to join the channel if you should choose to. It's not forced down your throat, okay? And it shouldn't be. That's not fair. I agree. I appreciate that you use filters to protect the families and hold information that should be trustworthy is priority in this. Right. I agree. I absolutely agree, Kim. The family doesn't need any more drama or trauma, in my opinion. They don't. I can only imagine what they go through now. Okay. It's horrifying. You know, I want this to be, that's what I want for them is this to be done the right way with true justice for these kids. They deserve it in a way, you know, in a bad way. Like I said the other day, I almost feel like these are my kids in some sense, or our kids. You know what I mean? I know that sounds crazy, but I feel that way. Like I'm close to these kids myself. That's how affected by this case I have been. I know it sounds crazy, guys, but I really do feel that way. That's why I feel so strong and passionate about it. And that's with a lot of the cases that involve children. Don't even get me started because we're not going to talk about it today. But the Oklahoma case, that one made me nuts. It made me nuts. And it still bothers me. None of these things should happen. You know, in a perfect world, these things wouldn't happen. But here we are, living in a very, very unperfect world, folks. So we have to deal with it however we can. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. I've been here the whole time, my dear. The whole time. From the start of this case till the very right now. Same here, Jules. That's another one. You don't want to get me started on that one either. Mama Bear will tell you that too. I go off every time we even get really close to that one. Nope. And you know what? I know something? This kind of reminds me of that case a little bit. It really does. Because I feel that in that case, and I'm not going to go into it because I won't stop, that there is something that has been brushed under the rug or covered up in some sense too. Yeah. Because the end and outcome to that case is nowhere near what it should be. And that's just based on common sense, folks. Thank you, Don't Dive. I appreciate that. We love you too.
Aw, thank you.
Not crazy. We don't live in a vacuum. Good point, Kim. Thank you. There's a few bad channels out there. And I don't even want to call them bad channels. Okay. I think there's some channels that approach this in a way that maybe they shouldn't. Okay. This has to be handled in some senses with kid gloves. Okay. And it's okay to talk about some things, and you cannot force. I don't believe, let me put this the way I'm trying to say it. I don't believe that a creator of a channel should shove their only theory down everybody else's throat. And if those people don't like it, then they're gone. That's not the way this works, guys. And that's why those are the channels that I don't care for.
We know how you feel, Red. It's all good.
I'm gonna sit this one out to do. Yes, we know. We do know, brother. We know.
We still love you.
100%, bro. All right, guys. Well, let's see. Yeah, we've been going for a minute here.
Yeah. Oh shoot, you got another show tonight, don't you?
Yeah. So I want to thank everyone here once again for being here today. I'm sorry that I was not here yesterday. What is today? Thursday. We will be here tomorrow, same time, same place, same Dago, same Mama Bear, unless she colors her hair or something. But I don't see that happening, so you never know.
You never know.
But again, I want to thank you guys all so very much for being here, for listening to what we have to say, and for letting me listen to what you have to say. All the callers, I appreciate you guys so very much. Jules, it's always an honor to have you here and a pleasure. Annie, same with you. I appreciate you all so very much. Eddie, all you callers, thank you for calling in, giving us your insight, your thought, your theory, your opinion. And thank you guys for wanting to spend your time here and listening to what we have to say. That means the world to us. You guys are amazing, guys. Don't forget, guys, to love yourselves and to love each other, because if you don't, what do you got? Mama Bear, thank you so much for being here with us today. Again, moderators, you guys are amazing as always. I got the best mods in YouTube land, and that's a fact. Guys, besides that, tonight I am 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be covering the I hate this. What am I covering tonight?
Son of Sam?
Son of Sam. There we go. Sorry about that. So much in my head. But anyway, the true story behind the movies based on Son of Sam. I'm going to be giving that story tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you, thank you, Jorm. I appreciate that. Or no, that was to Jules. I thought that said Diego. My apologies. Well, I'm sure Jules appreciates it. Thank you, Jorm. Jules appreciates that. There we go. Anyway, actually, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to get that info myself. Other than that, folks, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see some of you guys this evening. Love you guys to death, and I will see you on the other side. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.